Welcome back to the ACCHL playoffs on AAU Plus and YouTube. My name is Andy Parr, joined alongside Bailey Unchester for our final game here on Friday at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex. And Bailey, final game of the day, the 6-3 matchup between Penn State and the host Wake Forest Demon Deacons. These two teams faced off twice in the regular season. What happened in those games, Bailey?
Well, Penn State really, end of the story, had Wake Forest's number a bit. We have scores from October 3rd and 4th of this past year, back in 2025. Penn State took both of those games 8-3 and 7-1, respectively. The Demon Deeks traveled to Happy Valley for those showdowns, but we have, as Andy was saying, a rematch tonight.
Absolutely, and for those of you watching at home, tonight is the matchup of the two defending champions last year. The Ice Lions claims the premier title here in Winston-Salem, winning the championship over Virginia Tech. And Wake Forest, their final season as a member in the M2 Elite Division, picked up a win over West Virginia to claim the championship there. So two teams looking to defend their titles here tonight, Bailey.
And this is going to be a showdown. You know, it's the last game of a really busy day. 3 games played before us, and this is to cap it off. We are in Wake Forest's home territory here in Winston-Salem. I predict that fans will be coming to pack the stands shortly, just right off of Wake Forest campus here. It's a Friday night. What else would you be doing besides watching some ACHA hockey?
I know there's nothing else I would rather be doing. And based on the results of today's games, we are already confirmed for one matchup tomorrow. Number 7 Maryland, who upset UNC Wilmington, will face off against the 1 seed Rowan, who just shut out Delaware. And then the winner of this game, the 6-3 matchup, will take on Virginia Tech, who opened our day all the way back at that noon puck drop with a huge win over High Point, Bailey.
Yeah, Virginia Tech in that first game, pretty much a dismantling there of the Panthers. Virginia Tech putting in 7 this morning early on, a lot earlier than we're used to seeing these games played. But Virginia Tech, regardless, came guns blazing, and they are really going to be steaming in, as in my personal opinion, the favorite to win this all. But we're going to see what Penn State here tonight, the reigning champions of this Premier Division, can do. Penn State took on Virginia Tech last year, and they were no trouble. They were no match for the Nittany Lions. So, again, these defending champs, they're hungry. I think they could do it again. We're going to see that all starts tonight.
Yeah, Penn State was definitely one of the top teams in the ACC during the regular season, only coming in as the 3 seed based on conference record, but the Ice Lions went 15-7-3 overall, and they played a tough schedule, a lot of D1 non-conference opponents to begin the year. And then their most recent series, they had the number 1 team in the ACHA West, Oklahoma State, come out to Happy Valley for a pair of games. Ice Lions lost both, one of them an outdoor game at Beaver Stadium, the other one indoors at Pagula Ice Arena. But Penn State, they've been facing some tough competition recently to prepare them for this playoff run.
And, you know, that's definitely a strategy that you haven't seen a lot of teams taking. Usually towards the end bulk of this schedule, especially heading into the second semester for a lot of schools, that's usually where they'll throw in some random exhibition games here and there. But Penn State choosing Oklahoma State, who is going to be NCAA D1 in just a few years, to really season themselves here for another good playoff run. And they're going to be coming in hot from that.
Yeah, and Wake Forest, on the other hand, has not played since January 23rd in that game. Not so good for the Demon Deacons. They traveled up to Virginia Tech, dropped 5-2 at the hands of the Hokies. But Bailey, you were telling me something pregame that I did not know about Wake Forest roster structure for this spring semester.
Yeah, Wake Forest. I was talking to my good friend from high school, Nick Azzarello, who is on Wake Forest's team this year. He told me that basically how Wake Forest runs things is that it's generally the situation that a lot of their juniors go abroad in their fall semester. So Wake Forest saw a lot of lineup shakeups there, especially coming in from the fall to now, missing a lot of key pieces, and that was pretty detrimental to how, you know, their schedule played out and the results of some of their games.
Yeah, Wake Forest dropping a lot of games early in the season, including those 2 that they've already played against Penn State this year. And I know just based on my game notes going into this, the roster I was handed for Penn State, I was blindsided by how many of these names were different. This Demon Deacons roster tonight, very different than what they had for the majority of the year. Could be a much different story out here at the fairgrounds tonight as we look out onto the ice, and the Ice Lions appear to be stepping out here to get things going.
See Penn State rocking their all-navy uniforms. The home crowd chanting some boos as the lone skater for Penn State tonight is going to be Evan Partridge. Seems to be skating out here to welcome the Deacons onto the ice. We're going to have a ceremonial puck drop, I believe, to kick this one off tonight.
Yes, we were told that there will be a ceremonial puck drop between two Wake Forest mothers. We were not told the names of said mothers, but congratulations to both of them. And it appears it's going to be Partridge taking it against Colin Rosado, Wake Forest's leading scorer and captain. All right, maybe we won't get a ceremonial puck drop as both teams just flood onto the ice right here, and it seems like we're going to get going in a matter of moments here at Winston-Salem. We'll be back in a second. We do indeed now have the ceremonial puck drop going on at center ice. There was a slight delay. Turns out they wanted to have both teams in their entirety out onto the ice instead of just the captains. And now we're going. Great ceremonial puck drop right there. Two flat pucks. The linesman would be proud of that one, Bailey.
It was a pretty good showing here from these moms. I hope they're on official reserve if we lose the stripes at any point throughout this tournament.
That was good form. They kept them flat. They presented them well to the skaters in front. Just a couple of good puck drops there, and we'll get going in a matter of moments here at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds. Both teams huddled around their benches, waiting for lineups to go out.
Penn State sporting, as I said earlier, their all-navy jersey getup, whereas Demon Deacons going for their gold alternate here.
Yep, and your starting goalies today, it's going to be John Tolley for the Demon Deacons, number 31 in the gold, having .906 in 10 games for Wake Forest this season. Then for Penn State, you're going to go with number 30, Christopher McFadden. Only played in 3 games, but had a .903 for the Ice Lions. A couple of guys over 900. Not too often you see that in the ACHA. A couple of solid goaltenders after back-to-back shutouts that we watched today here, Bailey.
We've had some crazy games here. As Andy, you were just saying, back-to-back shutouts courtesy of Jack Pharisee for the Terps and Bobby Kennedy for the Profs. It has been all goaltending for the middle half of this day here. We're going to see if we can get a repeat with one of these two tandems.
All right, seems like all the pregame festivities are finally over, and we're about to get some hockey here after the starting lineups. Well, they only read the lineups for Penn State as both teams want to get going. Opening draw won by the Ice Lions, and Nate Whipke working on defense, getting it out to Evan Ing. Ing trying to play it through center. That one's intercepted by Snow, and he'll dump it in to the Ice Lion end of the ice. Ing going into the boards there with Rosado. Rosado and Ing fighting for the puck on the near side. At the point, it squirts out to McGregor. McGregor, a long shot, looking for a deflection there, goes well wide of McFadden. Ing trying to collect the puck for the Ice Lions, squirts it out to the far boards for the moment, and now Schwartzmiller has the puck on his stick for Penn State. Wes Schwartzmiller into the offensive zone with speed. Across shot, saved by Toll. Early opportunity there, that one coming off the stick of Blake Groton. Wake Forest collects the puck in their defensive end, and now the other way, this is McGregor. James McGregor, 1-on-3 into the offensive zone, now retreats into neutral as he faced some pressure. Teammates were in the middle of a change, and now he'll dump it in as he needs to get off the ice himself. Wake Forest trying to use their home ice advantage here tonight against the Ice Lions to try and move on in this ACC playoffs. Penn State with a dump in from center there. That one went right to Toll. Spinning in his own end, that's number 20, Walter Ingus of the Demon Deacons, and that is a huge check there. Alex Marvis absolutely decking. That was Ingus on the far boards. Puck here corralled by Eddie Kane. Kane trying to play it over to Ingus. Ingus looking for a passing lane in his defensive zone. Ingus ends up forking it forward to a teammate. He finds Faulkner. Wake Forest trying to find some transition in center. They head up to Quinn Farland, who needs a change as he'll dump it in from neutral. Back to collect it for the Ice Lions. That's Declan Maloney. Maloney around the boards, but it's held in at the far point for the moment by Wake Forest. Turnover in front of the net. Here come the Demon Deacons yet again as that shot goes well wide. Penn State feeling a bit of pressure, decides to send this one the length of the ice, but no ice here until a very late whistle at the end. And we will indeed have icing on the Ice Lions with 18:05 to go in period number 1, Bailey.
First stoppage there in a few minutes as we're going to get a look here at Wake Forest's offensive zone draw. This is going to be a nice chance for them to build off of this and set something up here.
Yeah, we just had a shot of Wake Forest head coach Michael Adams on the stream for you right there. And Bailey, you were telling me that he is currently in year 4 of a 20-year plan for this program?
Yeah, Michael Adams, what he tells his players is that they are in a 20-year plan with the Demon Deacons, and the then goal for this plan is essentially to become an NCAA D1 program. And, they've already made the jump here from the elite to premier division in just a few years into this 20-year plan. So I'd say he's on a pretty good track. They have this nice arena here, right? Just steps off campus that they get to use. So if I were him, I think that he has a pretty good chance at accomplishing that plan.
This is going to be another icing on Penn State as the Ice Lions were feeling the pressure after that tight shot from Jake McCuskey of Wake Forest. And now we get to see a look at Penn State coach Peter Brumberg. Brumberg coached these Ice Lions to a premier championship last season, back behind the bench for Penn State's final year in this ACC Premier Division. And the Ice Lions trying to leave the Premier on a very high note with back-to-back titles, Bailey.
I mean, if you win 2 years in a row this tournament, sure, move up. I think that is fair enough. It's upsetting to see, such a big team like Penn State go. I feel like this ACC division is anchored by a lot of those big, Big Ten ACC teams, and Penn State seems like such a staple in that. But it's good for them to make that jump, have a little bit more appeal to their program, especially since they're sitting behind that nice NCAA D1 program who everyone got to play in a few outdoor games just a few weeks ago at Beaver Stadium.
Wake Forest has a shot deflect into the netting right there, so we'll reset to the right of McFadden yet again here. And as you were saying, Bailey, Penn State moving up. They played a lot of D1 club teams to start this season as non-conference opponents. They tested themselves hard, and they even came up with a few wins, including one over Syracuse, who currently lies in the top 20.
Again, they're definitely capable. This is a Penn State team with a lot of talent that filters into it, and that's just going to be a really big element for their future recruiting if they're able to make that jump. So they're just going to keep on building off that talent. We've even seen a few players for the Ice Lions here jump to that official D1 squad within the past few years. They had a goalie a few years back who, again, made that jump, got the call up, and I think that's going to be another aspect for that pipeline.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a big recruiting chip, and if you can move up to Club D1, that's even better for your club program, your NCAA. It gives guys who are looking at club programs that want to see if they can potentially make a jump. If they can start at a school that has a D1 club program, it can make that transition a lot easier if they're playing well.
Club hockey is college hockey.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day,
club
period.
hockey is college hockey with the way the rules work. It's so much for all of these schools who are in this tournament this weekend. As Wake Forest still with another offensive zone draw, that is one. But Penn State now trying to get in transition. This is Tim Chisin. Up ahead for Groton. Groton will send that one right at Tolv, and he'll hold it long enough to get a whistle from the official. This one should come out to the right of Tolv here, but it'll be an offensive zone draw for Penn State and their ever-dangerous first line of Schwartzmiller, Grasser, and Groton. Face-off here, though, is won by the Demon Deacons. Back to get it is Ingus for Wake Forest. Held in for the moment by Maloney, who dumps it right at Tolv, and he'll send that aside. Wake Forest setting things up in their defensive end, playing it up ahead for Snow. Snow backhands it around the boards to Kane. Penn State with a keep-in long-range shot from Maloney. Gloved there by Tolv again, and we'll get another offensive zone draw for Penn State. Shots on goal currently 4-2 in favor of the Ice Lions, just under 4 minutes into this one.
That was maybe Tolv's best test of the night there, as that shot didn't have a lot of zip to it, but it was through a lot of traffic. So getting a glove on that at the last second was relatively impressive for him.
Penn State trying to get offensive zone possession here, down low. Wes Schwartzmiller fighting for that puck, but he loses the battle for the moment to Farland. Puck played off a high stick here. If Wake Forest touches it, we play on, and there they go. Coming into the offensive zone with speed, this is Ross McKee. McKee needs a change, so he'll dump it in. First one back there is Maloney for Penn State. Big hit in the corner there by Wake Forest. And it looks like the officials are going to say that it was enough to cause a board, and they're going to take off Quinn Farland right there.
Big blow for the Deeks early on here, as you never want an early penalty like this in the first 5 minutes, as that's going to give Penn State a lot of time to, get a feel offensively. We're going to get another look at this hit there towards the boards.
See, puck's in the corner right here. Schwartzmiller fighting for it, and then Farland comes in from behind and forces Schwartzmiller hard into the boards.
Yeah, it looks like just a bit of a low shoulder move there, and hard enough for the officials to send him to the sin bin for our first odd man 2 minutes of the night.
And it was only a 2-minute board, not a 5, so Wake Forest escapes the major there. But this is Groton. Groton trying to feed it in tight. A shot was blocked in front. Wake Forest sends it down the ice. That clear courtesy of Jagger Lucas. McFadden out to play it, leaves for Ing. Evan Ing. Ing, a long stretch pass there. He's able to find the stick of John Paul Hay. Into the offensive zone for a moment. This is held in by Groton. Groton trying to feed it, but look out here. Jagger Lucas with speed shorthanded. Lucas coming in off the crossbar and out of play. Jagger Lucas, a shorthanded breakaway. He had McFadden beat, but rung the iron, and the puck bounces into the netting.
That's just unfortunate. Again, he was going high because he knew he had him beat high, but you just get a little bit too excited on those breakaway chances, and that's what causes you to just roof that puck a little bit more than you'd like. Ringing the iron, but that was best chance for both sides so far in the first 5 minutes of this game, as that puck went way out of the park after that.
Yeah, and as we just saw it there, he barely missed that high blocker side as Grasser goes into the offensive zone for Penn State. Across, score! Right on cue, Wes Schwartzmiller, a power play strike, and the Ice Lions are on top here in Winston-Salem.
Schwartzmiller now with his 18th goal of the season. He's up to 35 points for the Ice Line, and he was there perfectly on that post to slot one in right past Tolv. A lot of free real estate there as Tolv couldn't quite commit to both sides. We're going to get another look at this one. Looks like that was all started by Grasser, who, again, just spotted Schwartzmiller right there sitting perfectly on the post, and an easy put-in for him. Penn State up early on.
Yeah, talk about how quickly the complexion can change. Jagger Lucas was inches away from breaking the ice shorthanded. Puck bounces out of play after he hits the crossbar. Penn State goes the other way off the faceoff. Grasser sends it across to Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller buries it behind Tolv, and it's 1-0 Ice Lions the other way as Tolv comes up with a save there off the long-range shot coming off the stick of Marvis. Collecting in his defensive end, that was Jesper Snow. Snow still trying to skate out into center. He'll instead poke at it. May have too much pace, though, for his liking, and this will turn into icing against the Demon Deacons. Offensive zone draw upcoming for Penn State. 14:26 to go here in period number 1. Penn State already up 1-0, courtesy of Wes Schwartzmiller on the power play. This offensive zone draw will come to Tolv's left. Face-off here won by the Ice Lions in the far corner. This is going to be picked up by Sebastian Kiley, but he immediately loses it to Ingus. Scrum on the far circle. Picked up there in a long shot just off the glove there of Tolv. That one coming off the stick of Matthew Neisner. Ing recollects it in center for the Ice Lions and plays it up for Whipke. Back to Ing. Ing, stretch pass there. Ice Lions trying to break into the offensive zone. Near circle now. Looking in the slot there, that was Kiley. He couldn't handle it cleanly. Puck's bouncing around in Penn State's offensive zone, and Wake Forest picks it up. Now Whipke cycling in his own end. Whipke plays it up ahead. That pass, though, offline, and this will turn into another Ice Lion icing. Penn State, despite leading 1-0, has not been crisp on their passing so far, and it's resulted in a lot of draws coming back to Christopher McFadden's end of the ice, Bailey.
We didn't really get a good look at their power play either. Again, that one goal coming off a bit of a breakaway chance. So if I were the Nittany Lions, as you were saying, Andy, tighten up those passing lanes a bit, because, again, that's really just the tried and true way to beat your other team, is if you're handling the puck better, passing better, and we haven't really seen a lot of that so far tonight.
Wake Forest in their own end. This puck skied through center. Dekman Maloney trying to be the first one there. He pokes it around the stick of Faulkner. Now in front, this is Farland. Farland loses the puck for a moment. Now he's got back on his stick behind McFadden. Draws a penalty. Delayed call upcoming against the Ice Lions. Tolv on his way to the bench. At the point, this is McKee. McKee, a long shot. That one goes well high. Far side, Corwin sends that one wide of the net. It's finally going to be touched up by the Ice Lions here. But we have a cross check that was drawn by Quinn Farland. Great job by number 11 in gold, keeping the puck on his stick to force Declan Maloney into a penalty.
So now we're going to get our first look here at this Wake Forest power play. We're going to see if this could be the key that they need to set themselves up right now.
Penn State struck on the power play once already, and the game's not even 7 minutes old. Wake Forest getting their first opportunity here. This is McCuskey with a shot blocker save there for McFadden. At the point, this is McGregor. Off to the far circle, back inside on the near side. This is Rosado. Rosado, long shot off the post, still loose in front. Wake Forest jamming at it. It's cleared out by Schwartzmiller into the corner, but Wake Forest keeps it inside the blue. Now coming inside with a shot. That one was coming off the stick there of McGregor and went wide. This is held in by Custable. Down low to Snow. Snow facing some pressure from Ing. Ing takes him into the boards. Now there's a scrum in the far corner. It squirts out, and it ends up with Custable. Back up to the point with McGregor. McGregor a shot, and it's gloved down by McFadden.
Wake Forest is going for a lot of these long-range chances, and it's working out. They are, in fact, reaching the net mostly every single time. Stopped, obviously, by McFadden every single time, but looks like the Lions are struggling, putting some traffic in front and blocking those long shots from the Deeks. I would keep that up if I were Wake Forest.
Wake Forest changing up some of their power play personnel. Danny Mitchell will take this face-off here, and he wins it back for McKee. McKee across to the other side for Danaher. Danaher back up to the point for McKee. McKee trying to creep in, chooses Danaher. Danaher waiting, back over to McKee. McKee creeping in, facing a little bit of pressure, will go into the corner. Back up at the point, it's McKee again. McKee surveying his options. McKee facing the pressure outside with a shot. One-time save by McFadden right there, coming off the stick of Jagger Lucas.
Yeah, nice clap from Lucas there. He had that passing lane wide open coming from this front circle here. But again, stomach save there for McFadden, as both teams are going to get a nice change for the second half here of this power play opportunity for the Deacs.
Custable wins this faceoff back for a moment, but Wake Forest unable to recover. Groton will take it into the offensive zone for Penn State. Groton with a step, getting in on Tolv, and he makes a nice stop there, shutting down the 5-hole in tight. Wake Forest now motoring the other way. This is Snow. Snow has taken off the puck for the moment by Tim Shishin. Back in front, loose for McFadden, and he jumps on top of it. There were a couple of Demon Deacons there looking to get a stick on it. Colin Rosado and Jesper Snow both getting in tight on number 30 in blue.
We have 35 seconds left on this power play for Wake Forest. It seems like it's been 5 minutes, though, as this has been really back and forth for this past minute and a half or so. But we're going to see what the Deacs can set up here the last quarter of their man advantage.
Neisner and Mitchell tie it up, but it's taken by Wake Forest now. Wake Forest still on the power play for another 30 seconds, trying to get it set up in the offensive zone. Jagger Lucas. Lucas is a footing, but he gets it up for McKee with a shot. That one goes well wide of McFadden. Far side, Wake Forest trying to keep it in. Whipkey with a backhand, but it's held in by Wake Forest for the moment, and now Neisner will do the rest of the job for the Ice Lions.
That was a great effort by Neisner to clear that puck. He was pretty much in midair when he batted that one away.
Declan Maloney will be released from his sentence in another 4 seconds. As Wake Forest goes into the offensive zone again. Declan Maloney officially out of the box. We're back to 5-on-5 as Maloney backhands it up. Here come the Ice Lions again with Partridge. Partridge, though, can't handle it cleanly, and now this is Danaher. Danaher, a long shot right into the glove of McFadden. He'll choose to play it on. Salamone for the Ice Lions. Jake Salamone with a stop-and-go move there finds Whipkey. Nathan Whipkey into the offensive zone onside with Partridge. Partridge chasing that puck into the zone, but it's taken away by Ingus. Ingus motoring through neutral, loses the puck there for a moment, still loose in center. Ice Lions pick it up. Here comes Penn State. Trying to get a drop pass there. The target was Evan Partridge. He couldn't come up with it. Now Ice Lions are forced to chase yet again. This is Salamone. Salamone with a backhand pass. He's able to find a teammate there. Second pass, though, incomplete. Now Ice Lions into the offensive zone in front. That was a shot there coming off the stick of Messner that didn't get all the way to Tolv. Hey, up ahead, he finds a teammate with Downs. Downs into the offensive end, facing a lot of pressure on the far boards, and it's taken away by Wake Forest. Landon Dowdett sends it around the boards, and it's collected by McFadden, where he leaves for Maloney. Up ahead for Hay. Hay has a weird pass there, but it ends up on a teammate's stick. Here comes Downs. Carson Downs with a long shot. Kick save for Tolvey. Rebound dangerously loose. Tommy Albright finally back to his feet to get it. Maloney, a long shot, never got all the way there. And then it's mishandled by Tim Shizhin, and he gets back wisely, as that was Jack Stadheim ready to go for the races behind him. Gage Clover settling things down now for the Ice Lions. This is Maloney. Declan Maloney carries the red line, and he'll dump this in from center. It's right at Tolv as he gloves it out of the air. And we'll take a quick commercial break here with 9:12 to play in the first period.
And the Wake Forest fans have really shown out on this Friday night again. The Winston-Salem Fairgrounds just steps off campus. We are currently across from the football stadium itself. So as I was saying a little bit earlier, what else are you going to be doing on this Friday night? Been watching some playoff college hockey. This is the last game of the night, the late game, the 9 p.m. slate. And it is on Wake Forest's side that they are able to have some supportive fans showing up tonight.
Yeah, as we could see very closely on that Zoom camera, it appeared some big fans of Eddie Kane were up on the glass next to Wake Forest bench.
It's cold in here.
It is quite cold inside this building, especially the closer that you get to the ice. So those big supporters of Eddie Kane will probably be feeling it by the end of this first period, but they're staying warm right now with some liquid courage. We'll say that. Wake Forest trying to get established in the offensive zone. This is Corwin. Corwin, a long shot from the far point. That one's blockered away by McFadden. Corwin keeping it inside, across. A good block there. In tight, and another one. Oh, my goodness. What a stop there on Jesper Snow by McFadden. Sliding to his right. He snags it with the glove. And a little bit of extra pushing and shoving after that whistle.
Yeah, a few point-blank back-to-back saves there for McFadden. I'd be upset, too, if I was on the ice right then for Wake Forest. But alas, McFadden bails out the ice lines, keeping them up still. We're going to get another look at this.
First shot there coming from Rosado, and then the rebound to Jesper Snow. McFadden, as he was sliding to his right, a beautiful stop right there. Defensive zone draws won by the Ice Lions. Evan Ing trying to play it up out of the zone. It was not held in at the point there by Eddie Kane. Wake Forest going all the way back to play this puck now. Taken away by Ing in center. Up ahead, he finds Sebastian Kiley. Kiley, though, goes dump and chase. Walter Ing is the first one there for the Deacons. Puck battle on these near boards. We'll see who comes out with it in a second. It ends up on the stick of Ingus. Ingus, though, immediately losing it to Kiley. Sent around the boards again. Faulkner trying to play it into neutral. He'll be able to find Messina right there. Messina can't hold it for long, though, as he loses his footing. Evan Ing says thank you very much. Big hit there on the far side. That was Matthew Neisner laying the body there on Sam Faulkner. Wake Forest unable to stay on their feet right now, it appears, as Sebastian Kiley circled his own end, but that pass was offline. Wake Forest trying to get set up again as Evan Ing takes Jack Stadine into the board. Turnover there, and a shot immediately from McCuskey is sent aside by McFadden. Nate Whipke trying to collect it in his defensive end. Whipke up ahead, he finds a teammate. Penn State trying to get it in through center. That one was dumped into the offensive zone by Szymanski. Ethan Szymanski, though, can't hold it for long. Wake Forest trying to go out the other way. Deacons doing everything they can to steal this puck. Penn State trying to keep it in the offensive zone. Big puck battle right in front of us here. 4 guys all involved in the scrum. It squirts out into the corner. Wake Forest has possession with Albrighton. Albrighton stretch pass there, unable to cleanly connect with McCuskey. Now Penn State circling in their defensive end. This is Hay. Hay up ahead, couldn't find a split defense there, and Kellen Danaher sends it back in. Salamone trying to recharge for the Ice Lions now. Salamone can't hold it for long. Look out here. Wake Forest keeping it in the offensive end on the far side with Corwin. Corwin, a pass in front. Sneaky little play there, trying to get an in-tight tip. Salamone trying to calm things down for the Ice Lions. They're currently being outshot 13-8 despite leading 1-0 on the scoreboard. Penn State in their own end still. This is Hay. Hay sends it across for Klober. Gage Klober will chip this in from center. Well wide of Tolp. Klober behind Tolp. In front, a big stop there by Tolp as that puck found a wide open Grayson Messner, and now even more animosity between these two squads.
So far, this has been the chippiest game, in my opinion, that we've seen all day. All teams before this doing a good job of keeping their cool, knowing what's at stake if somebody gets ejected or thrown out, but that does not seem to be the case tonight between these two squads. Lots of big hits on all sides, and again, if you're going to have this crowd out here, lay the body out every once in a while, you know. That's what the fans want to see right now, and I think that both Wake Forest and Penn State are giving these folks who came out tonight the show that they asked for.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Wake Forest fans here, as you said, Bailey. We're only a stone's throw away from the football stadium and campus, only a little bit further out. Declan Maloney trying to play this in his defensive end, facing a lot of pressure there from Landon Dowdett. Dowdett still fighting for the puck on this near side. Dowdett against a couple of Ice Lions as it pops into the boards. It's held in at the point for the moment by Wake Forest. And now down low. This is Dowdett. Dowdett sends it around the boards, but it's taken away by the Ice Lions. Here comes Klober. Klober sends it across. Into the offensive end with Messner in front. Downs couldn't keep it on goal. Downs sending it across again. Klober wasn't in position. Back up to the point. This is Whipke. Whipke waits. He'll take the shot, and it's blocked out of play. A well-placed skate there from Landon Dowdett to knock that one into the netting.
Great defensive play there from him. Again, really just taking one for the team on that one, hitting a skate. I know that hurts if it's in the wrong place. But again, very physical game here so far. We have just over 5 minutes left to play. Shots on goal relatively even. Wake Forest, though, still leading 13-10 in that category.
Another offensive zone draw win for the Ice Lions. Evan Ing on the far circle. Ing backed up to the point. This is Groton. Groton and Ing cycling. Ing's got it again down low. Ing in front for Schwartzmiller. He couldn't get the shot off. Whipke on the near circle. Whipke across. Shot is not taken there by Grasser. Grasser will go behind Tolv, and he loses the puck there to Nacy. Zachary Nacy skying it through center as Wes Schwartzmiller's back there for Penn State. Wake Forest will change. Schwartzmiller's pass, though, is intercepted there by the Demon Deacons as a shot comes in from McGregor. Save McFadden. Rebound pushed wide of the cage. Wake Forest and Penn State fighting for this puck. Penn State getting it out into neutral. Delayed offside now here on the Demon Deacons. Washed out as Wes Schwartzmiller picks it up in his own end. Schwartzmiller with a chip through center. That one picked up by Danny Mitchell. Mitchell trying to send it the other way, held in for the moment by Groton, but now this is Ross McKee trying to start the charge with Corwin. Up ahead, that pass offline, but it will not be icing as it bounces favorably for Wake Forest right to Christopher McFadden, and the Demon Deacons will get another offensive zone draw with just over 4 minutes to play here in the first.
McFadden forced to cover a pretty low danger chance there, but again, we're going to get another look here at this Wake offensive possession to start. Bearing they win the opening face-off.
Face-off here coming to the right of McFadden. Penn State wins it. Hay trying to get it out of his defensive zone. In neutral, it's picked up by Corwin across for McKee. Back over to Corwin, the two of them playing catch in their own end. Long stretch pass there offline, and it was ruled no ice as in front. Snow can't get a shot off. Custable trying to poke at it. Neither of them ever took a clean shot there. McKee at the point, a long-range shot blocked down in front. Corwin across, he finds Custable. Down low for Rosado, back up to the point, it's McKee. McKee across to Corwin. Corwin the shot from the point, and it's gloved down by McFadden yet again.
And Wake Forest just really pumping those long-range shots, and rightfully so, because most of the time they are, in fact, making it to Christopher McFadden. A nice little long-range glove for him to keep that one out of harm's way, but Wake's going to keep finding those opening lanes from far away, and maybe one of them will land in the next 3.5 minutes of the first period.
Demon Deacons sending their fourth line out onto the ice. That was Quinn Farland trying to step into the face-off dot. Linesman telling him he was a little bit too late getting there. Penn State wins the face-off here, and now here comes Partridge. Evan Partridge loses it on the near circle, though, and Demon Deacons trying to head out the other way, only get as far as Declan Maloney. Maloney will send this into the offensive zone, dump and chase. First one there is Eddie Kane of the Demon Deacons as we get a whistle here. Both teams seem a little bit confused. Wake Forest crowd, though, loving this decision. Penn State coaching staff none too pleased with the officials here, as it seems they may have called intentional offside and bringing it all the way back down. Interesting decision, to say the least. Head coach Peter Brumberg of the Ice Lions not too pleased with that call, as this will come to the left of McFadden. Wake Forest with an offensive zone draw win, but they can't hold it for long. Partridge up ahead. He's able to find the stick of Szymanski. Szymanski slowing down the offensive end. He can't handle it cleanly. And now Wake Forest pushes it back into center where Maloney is for Penn State. In his defensive end, this is Ingus. Ingus will have to chip it in from center. Now under 3 minutes to play in the first period as Maloney sends it around to a partner, Marvis. Ice Lions picking up speed in neutral with Hay. Long shot there, blocked down in front by Albrighton. Wake Forest now trying to catch the Ice Lions in transition, but we have a penalty behind the play. Big check behind the play. That was Quinn Farland taking down Evan Partridge, and it drew the ire of the trail official.
Second look tonight here at this Penn State power play. They already struck once way earlier on in the period. We're going to get another look at this hit here.
Quinn Farland just comes in and takes Partridge into the boards away from the puck from behind. That's going to be a call every time. Second board of the game on Wake Forest. Penn State back to work on the power play, already 1 for 1 tonight. This is Sebastian Kiley. Kiley behind the Wake Forest net, up to the point for Groton. Groton chooses Ing. Ing back over to Groton. Groton creeping into the near circle with a shot. It never got all the way to Tolv. Evan Ing at the far point will keep it in down around the boards. Penn State looking for another setup on this power play. This is Ing. Ing, a long shot there. Save Tolv. Rebound was sitting there for Kiley as he jams it wide. Wake Forest desperately trying to get it out. It's held in by Ing again. Ing will take the shot, and it's clubbed out of the air by Tolv. And more pushing and shoving as these two teams clearly don't like each other, Bailey.
Again, getting really crazy really early on here, both sides, but still such a close game, especially between the 6 and the 3, two squads that you maybe didn't expect this to be so close. But we're going to get another look here as the student section really is starting to fill out. A good shot attempt.
Another face-off win here for Penn State as Groton's trying to get the power play. A tip in tight there from Kiley goes wide of Tolv. Sebastian Kiley getting a chunk of that long-range shot from Groton and tipped it just wide. Wake Forest now shorthanded, trying to kill more time, but this is going to be offside as Jesper Snow was well ahead of James McGregor right there. Demon Deacons throwing away an opportunity to kill more time off the penalty on that one.
Just those mental errors late on in the period are upsetting to go through, especially if you're coming in down, as Wake Forest is.
Neutral zone face-off here, won by the Ice Lions. Penn State now putting their first power play unit onto the ice. This is Tim Shizhin. Tim Shizhin finds Grasser. Grasser up ahead, has that pass intercepted by Snow, but his clearing attempt is taken away by the Ice Lions. This is Partridge. Evan Partridge can't get it around McGregor right there. McGregor taking it into the boards and loses the puck to Szymanski. Szymanski back up to the point for Schwartzmiller. Across Tim Shizhin with a shot. It's blocked by Snow. Snow trying to get over the blue line. It's held in by Penn State. Grasser across. He was looking for Szymanski, who couldn't handle it cleanly. Now, Demon Deacons can't get it out, though. At the point, this is Tim Shizhin again on the far side. Tim Shizhin for Schwartzmiller as we're at a minute left in this period. Back at the point, Tim Shizhin. Tim Shizhin for Grasser. Grasser over to Schwartzmiller on this near circle. Schwartzmiller across. Shot saved by Tolv. Ethan Szymanski was on that far circle with nobody in front of him. Tolv had the answer. Far side, kept in by the Ice Lions. Wes Schwartzmiller on the near circle. Across, shot, another one for Tolv. Ben Grasser couldn't quite keep it on net. Tolv got enough of it to force it on the outside. And that puck is cleared out of the ice by Quinn Farland as he steps out of the box to finish killing the penalty. And it's right at McFadden, so no ice. And now up ahead, look out here, a shot goes wide. Grayson Messner trying to pick the far side past Tolv, and he missed it high. Another long-range shot there from the Ice Lions. Never got all the way to Tolv as we're under 10 seconds to go in the period. Penn State looking for one more. Wake Forest trying to kill the rest of this period. And Ross McKee will do the job as the Demon Deacons escape with just a one-goal deficit after that late onslaught from Penn State, Bailey.
Yeah, it has become clear to me now that the main factor in this game for Wake Forest is obviously going to be John Tolv, and he looked great in that last sequence there. A couple really nice chances for the Lions in tight and from far away, and Tolv just has all angles covered. He's been really showing out right now for Wake Forest. Penn State, though, still up 1-0 off of an early put-in from Schwartzmiller. A nice sequence, and Tolv's one flaw of the night. But, you know, the reigning champions, at least in the Premier Division, are currently the ones with the 1-0 lead.
Yep, and Wake Forest, though, out-shooting Penn State 15-12. Penn State's shot counter a lot lower before that final sequence right in front of Tolv. Deacons, despite being the underdog 6 seed, definitely putting up a fight so far against Penn State. And Bailey, of the first 3 games, 2 of them won by the lower seed today. It's been a day of upsets here at the fairgrounds.
Absolutely, and we saw number 7 Maryland take down number 2 UNC Wilmington just a few hours ago. And then number 5 Virginia Tech taking down number 4 High Point, that first game of the day. So this is really anybody's game, especially considering this is so close going into the second period here. 1-0 game, that's practically nothing. Wake Forest still obviously in this, especially with the great efforts of John Tolve.
Yep, and we'll see how that home ice advantage starts to carry itself as this game goes along. This Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Arena, the normal home rink for Wake Forest.
Fans they came to play. I was not expecting their student section to be so pushed up against the glass, but that's going to help you out on any team if you're playing at home and you have some great supporters. And we're going to have a word here with, I believe, Penn State's coach.
We're about to have Wake Forest head coach Michael Adams here in the broadcast in just a moment. He's getting set up at the interview station. Hello, Coach. How are you doing this evening?
Good. How are we doing?
Doing great. So, Coach, trailing 1-0 after 1, but outshooting the Ice Lions 15-12. What'd you see from your squad in that opening 20?
Hey, we just put 20 hard in. We're rolling 4 lines, keeping it deep. Okay. Not really worried about the score right now. Pretty happy with where the boys are at coming into the weekend.
And, Coach, it seems like the main factor tonight for your win is going to be John Tolve in net, who has looked electric so far. What do you expect to see from him with these next 2 periods?
Well, Tolve's always consistent. He's always good for, the big save every game. We're a lot deeper than John Tolve, though. We've got 4 lines. We roll 4 lines evenly. We don't shorten our bench at all, so there's a lot to be said for that too.
And Coach, Wes Schwartzmiller getting the opening tally for Penn State on the power play, but since then you've really shut down the Ice Lions. What adjustments did you make after that odd man rush that ended in a Ice Lion goal?
None, just individual responsibility. That's what the boys know. You're going to have breakdowns here and again, and we got to hope that they don't capitalize on them, and we do.
And Coach, one last question. I was talking to some of your players before the game. I heard something about your 20-year plan. What's that in your own words?
So, the 20-year plan is just, changing the culture of Wake hockey to where, we are in the conversation for the top team in the nation, within the next 20 years.
Coach, thank you very much. Good luck with the rest of these periods here. Appreciate you spending time with us.
Perfect. Thank you.
That was Wake Forest head coach Michael Adams joining us here on the broadcast. And we will step away for the rest of this first intermission here on YouTube and AAU+. Greetings from the first intermission here at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds for the ACCHL on AAU Plus and YouTube. My name is Andy Parr, joined alongside Bailey Unchester. And Bailey, in this first intermission, Penn State with a 1-0 lead thanks to Wes Schwartzmiller on the power play.
Yeah, one of Penn State's do-it-all guys, Schwartzmiller, now collecting 18 goals on the season with an early period put-in off a nice rush for the Nittany Lions, the only time that they were able to meet John Tolve in net for the Deacons. But other than that, it's been a relatively back-and-forth game, even though Penn State is leading in the scoring category. Wake Forest has them beat in terms of shots, 15-12.
And despite what the ACHA website says, we have been corrected that Penn State's goaltender is not Christopher McStaden, but instead John Seifarth. And Bailey, he had one heck of a first period.
Yeah, I'm very sorry for calling his name wrong, because for such a good period, you're going to want that recognition. So John Seifarth, we apologize here. But he, again, has been on fire. This has been all goaltending all day. And last two games that were played ended in a shutout. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to say that word as a broadcaster. I apologize again. But John Seifarth is on track for that stat in question heading into the second period tonight. Some pretty good chances from the Deacons. They really like those long-range shots, and the Lions have had trouble kind of finding traffic in front of those shooting lanes. So a lot of those shots do, in fact, make it to Seifarth, but he seems to have the answer every single time.
Yeah, and that first period was kind of like a tale of three different periods. Penn State came out hot. They got the power play goal. Then Wake Forest really seized momentum after that. They had a lot of opportunities in tight on Seifarth. And then kind of that last minute, a bunch of chances right in front of John Tolve with the answer every time for Wake Forest, Bailey.
We saw a good look at a couple Penn State power plays, too, which seems to be their strong suit. That's where they were able to net in their first and only goal of the night. So, again, if you're Wake Forest, your key is just to stay out of the box, because it's clear that the Ice Lions are able to capitalize off of those opportunities. We've seen a bit of chippiness so far tonight, and that is to say the least. So maybe they're not going to be able to stay out of the box, but they should sure as heck try.
Yeah, we'll see what the rest of this game has in store. The second 20 minutes coming up in about 5.5 minutes here at the ACCHL playoffs on YouTube and AAU+. Welcome back to the ACCHL playoffs on AAU Plus and YouTube. My name is Andy Parr, joined alongside Bailey Unchester for this fourth and final game of the opening round between the third-seeded Penn State Ice Lions and the sixth-seeded Wake Forest Demon Deacons. And Bailey, in just a moment, we're going to take another look at Wes Schwartzmiller's opening tally of this first period.
Here we really get this play kicked off by Ben Grasser, who's able to find Schwartzmiller right there, perfectly slotting in on that post. And Schwartzmiller had all that far side open off Tolvey, and then he was able to just slot that one right in perfectly. Beautiful connection there to kick off this game for the Ice Lions.
Yeah, and don't be fooled. Despite the 2-on-1 unorthodox rush there, that was a power play strike for the Ice Lions. 5-on-4 goal right there. Ice Lions 1 for 2 on the power play in that first period. Wake Forest went 0 for 1 on their special teams opportunities, as we have both teams getting ready to get back out onto the ice. Penn State opening up the door right in front of them. Wake Forest opening up at the other side.
The Wake Forest, they're about to skate out to a packed home crowd here. A lot of students coming out again. This rink here, the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds, just a stone's throw away from the Wake Forest campus. Kids brought signs out. Look at that. Most of them seem to be for Nick Azzarello of Wake Forest, a friend of mine from high school, actually, who is not even in the lineup tonight. He's getting over the flu, but I had a chance to talk to him earlier in the game. He and the rest of the Demon Deeks are really excited to be coming out here against their home crowd. In their first year in the Premier Division, they were able to take it all the way last year in the Elite Division, but again, the battle of two champions here tonight. Neither of these teams know how to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Both of these teams went undefeated in their championship playoff weekends last year. Tonight, one of them has to lose. Wake Forest might be their first year in the Premier. They're looking to make a statement. Penn State, their last time playing in this division, trying to go out on a high note. So we see John Seifarth getting ready in his crease for the Ice Lions. He was locked in that first period. John Tolv on the other side for Wake Forest. He went 11 out of 12 on the shot counter. Both benches huddled up right now. Clock set to 20 minutes. And we're almost ready to play here in Winston-Salem. Penn State electing to put their first line out there, centered by Wes Schwartzmiller. Wake Forest countering with their own first line, centered by Adam Custable. Custable and Schwartzmiller getting ready to get set at this face-off dot. Linesman blows the whistle, and we are underway in the second period here in Winston-Salem. That face-off was won by the Ice Lions. Up ahead, this is Groton. Groton finds Grasser. Grasser to Groton with speed. Groton with a shot. That one goes high over Tolvey's head and off the glass into the netting. We have a quick whistle just 13 seconds into this middle frame.
Yeah, getting a good opening chance there for Penn State. Blake Groton with that shot, and this line again is very dangerous here. That's who opened up the scoring early on last period. They were trying to do it again.
Penn State here with the offensive zone draw. Face-off, though, won by Wake Forest. This is McGregor. Long pass there, trying to find Custable. Doesn't hit him cleanly, but Custable wins the foot race to eliminate the icing. Loses his stick, though, to Whipkey, and now Whipkey carries it in his defensive end. Whipkey through neutral. Whipkey, drop pass there to Groton. Groton inside for Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller winding up. Leaves it on the boards for Grasser. Grasser in front. Ing at the point with a shot. That one goes wide to Tolvey. He didn't look like he had a great sight line on that one, but the lively rebound, and look out here, it's Rosado. Rosado coming in, shot, glove saved by Seifarth, and he'll hold. And some extracurriculars after this whistle right in front of the Wake Forest faithful as they pound on this glass.
Shaping up to be a really fun night here in Winston-Salem. Again, not many other sports going on at the moment. Really just basketball to focus on. So if there's some Friday night hockey, this is the time you're going to want to watch it. Hockey's been really doing good this year, and the ACC and the rest of the ACHA is really on the come up.
Yeah, and something to keep an eye on. Colin Rosado and Blake Groton were still barking at each other on their way to the bench. Could see the two of them getting into each other a little bit more as this game progresses. Look out here for Penn State, though. Here comes Szymanski. Szymanski 1-on-2, gets taken into the corner. Out in front with a pass. Partridge couldn't handle it cleanly. Partridge now on the near side with a shot. Tipped in front by Szymanski and wide. Szymanski trying to collect it on these near boards. He loses the puck there to Farland. Farland, a clearing attempt there. This will turn into icing on Wake Forest, or not. Officials say it was deflected on the way in. Declan Maloney up ahead for Szymanski. Szymanski pushes it forward into the offensive zone. Partridge score! Evan Partridge, 1-on-2 individual effort, snipes it past the blocker of Toll.
And another put in for the Ice Lions off of a late last minute rush. That seems to be where they capitalize off. Both of these teams, super different playing styles. Penn State, they really love to take those chances and capitalize off them. Evan Partridge just, again, a really good do-it-all effort from him. We're going to get another look at this one. It all starts from behind the Penn State net. It's going to be Declan Maloney who's going to be able to send that one way up. Yeah, here comes Partridge. The Deeks on defense just couldn't quite get in front early enough to block off that shot lane, and he was able to slot one in right past Tolv.
What a play by Declan Maloney to send that stretch pass up, as we have a infraction right off the face-off, a slash spotted by the official, and it seems that Penn State's about to go shorthanded right here.
Wake Forest going to get an early chance to get this one back as they're sending here Jean-Paul Hay to the box for the Ice Lions.
Penn State going shorthanded for the second time tonight. Wake Forest 0 for 1 on the power play on their lone opportunity in the first period, but they win this faceoff. At the point, this is McGregor. At the far side, long-range shot there, never got all the way to Seifert. That one on the far side with McCuskey. McCuskey back up to the point with McGregor. McGregor down low for Custable. Back up for McGregor. McGregor, a long shot, got blocked down in front by Whipke, and he'll send it down the length of the ice. Tolv goes out of his net to play it. Up ahead for McGregor. McGregor decides to retreat behind Tolv, and now he'll pick up speed in his defensive end. McGregor through neutral over the red line and now into the offensive zone as he's poke-checked off that puck, and Penn State forces it back into neutral. This is Rosado now for Wake Forest. Rosado inside, stick check there from Seifarth, never got the shot off. Collecting it in neutral again, it's McGregor. McGregor taken off the puck there by Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller now into the offensive zone for Penn State shorthanded. Schwartzmiller taken into the corner, and he'll leave that puck in said corner as there's only 1 minute left on the penalty here. Declan Maloney killing more time off this penalty clock. Back to get it's Custable for Wake Forest. Up ahead, he finds the stick of Stadheim. Now Wake Forest picking up speed in the offensive zone with McKee. McKee down low, Stadheim picks it up behind the net. In front, he was looking for one more touch to Danny Mitchell. That pass was offline. And now look out here as Partridge was trying to catch a step there. 33 more seconds on this Wake Forest power play. Penn State trying to get it out. It's held in here. Long shot there. Saved by Seifert. That one coming off the stick there of Kellen Danaher. McKee, long-range shot blocked by Maloney. Picks up his own rebound in the slot, and another one, and it's jammed high there from Jagger Lucas. Way into the netting as it hit a couple of Ice Line sticks on its way out.
Just 12 seconds left to go here on this power play, and after a bit of a messy middle of that for Wake Forest, they were able to set up once again for a few good chances here as this clock is winding down. Looks like they're going to have some time for a few more shots if they hurry.
Rosado and Kiley take that face-off. Rosado wins it, but a little bit too cleanly, and that could kill the rest of this power play for Wake Forest. Hayes on his feet in the penalty box. He's getting ready to go 2-1. He has been released. We're back to 5-on-5. Colin Rosado loses the puck there as he's checked off, and now Penn State going the other way. Here comes Hay. Hay one-on-one, gets poke-checked off the puck right there. Wake Forest trying to hit a stretch pass here in neutral. It's stalled up for the moment by Penn State. Loose puck there, picked up by Kiley. Pushes it forward. First one there is going to be Walter Ingus. Ingus for Kane. Kane, one-touch pass. Wake Forest motoring in center. Can't handle it cleanly. Salamone with the takeaway for Penn State. Ice Lions and Demon Deacons just kind of playing back and forth catch with each other. Here's John Paul Hay. Hay across for Kiley. He didn't get the shot off cleanly there. Wake Forest in neutral. Backhand attempt there from Rosado only gets as far as Sebastian Kiley, and now Kiley's back into the offensive zone for the Ice Lions again. He's got his line mates changing off as he's taken into the boards there by Ingus. 1-on-2 scrum. It's picked up out of the corner. Penn State with possession. This is Ing. Evan Ing. Inside, one more. He was looking for Whipkey. Whipkey will take the long shot. A couple of bounces there, and it goes well wide of Toll. Behind the net, Wake Forest picks it up. Here come the Demon Deacons with Snow. Snow trying to get around Whipkey at the point. Adam Custom will finish that job and push it into center. Whipkey. Up ahead for Downs. That pass was a little bit offline, and Whipkey's got to go all the way back into his defensive end. Plays it up for Ing. Evan Ing looking for a stretch pass there. That one got caught up in the skates of Gage Klober for a moment, but now here comes Penn State with some speed. This is Messner. Messner gets taken off the puck by McGregor on those near boards. Gage Klober, though, with possession for Penn State, trying to play it in deep. Ice Lions and Demon Deacons fighting for this puck. Far corner, the first one there is going to be Chase Timshijan. Penn State can't pass it cleanly through neutral yet again, and look out here, this is Farland. Farland, a shot there, and another save by Seifar. Chase Timshijan uses the boards to play it up for Messner. Messner, though, loses it again in center as he's hit hard by Farland. Messner picks it up in his defensive end, and he is crunched there! Massive hit from James McGregor, and this home crowd for Wake Forest is loving it in Winston-Salem. Carson Downs in the offensive end for Penn State loses the puck there. Wake Forest skies it into center. Bailey, some heavy hitting from the Demon Deacons here.
It's good to see that physicality really coming out there for Wake Forest. As again, they're going to feed off of that momentum. That's going to be what helps them sustain the pressure.
Penalty coming up here on Wake Forest, though. Tommy Albrighton tripping up Wes Schwartzmiller right in front of an official.
And it looks like off that point, maybe getting a little too carried away there. Again, feeding off of that energy from the physicality, but you're going to keep reaching for that more, and then that's going to be when you end up going a little too crazy, drawing a penalty like that as they're going to take off Albrighton.
And as we see Albrighton sitting down in this box, we're going to take a look back to a few moments ago. Right before that, this giant hit in front of Wake Forest bench. Look at that play. That was James McGregor definitely getting the better of Grayson Messner right in front of his teammates there.
Yeah, an absolutely sandwiching crunch there. Everyone coming in all at once. If Wake can kill this one, I really do think that's going to turn the tables for them tonight.
Yeah, they have a ruckus crowd here in the Fairgrounds Annex. Penn State, though, headed to the power play again. Their one power play goal tonight. Wake Forest wins the defensive zone draw. Penn State trying to keep it in to set up this power play. Eating it on the boards there for Wake Forest is McKee. Still a scrum on the far side. Ben Grasser trying to get it out from underneath McKee. Loose puck in the corner. It's picked up by Schwartzmiller. At the point, this is Timshijan. Timshijan settling it down for Grasser. Across, that pass a little bit offline for Szymanski. Szymanski, though, able to collect it and send it down low, but McKee there for Wake Forest, held in at the far point there by Schwartzmiller. Now to the center. It's Timshijan, a long shot, never got fully on Toll. Wake Forest trying to clear it out with Corwin. It's held in by Szymanski. Now this is Schwartzmiller. Across. One-touch Grasser. Over to Szymanski again. Szymanski sends it around. At the point, this is Timshijan with a shot saved by Toll. Rebound was dangerous for a moment. Wake Forest, the first team there. Penn State keeps it in. Schwartzmiller on the far end for Grasser. Grasser and Schwartzmiller switch. Grasser with a shot. Flagged down by Toll.
Some good looks for Penn State. Some nice passes in particular, but no one able to pull that final trigger and give any true test to John Toll. He gloves down that one. As teams are going to switch up their personnel, we're going to see if this next unit can fare better, as we have 58 seconds left to go here on this penalty.
Face-off won by the Ice Lions as Ing takes a shot well high of Toll. Groton trying to keep it in at the far side. He can for the moment. Now down low, the Ice Lions trying to get the power play set up again. This is Ing. Ing down inside for Neisner, trying to feed it in front. Nobody home on that pass. 40 more seconds on this Penn State power play. Neisner in tight, a takeaway there by Wake Forest. And James McGregor is going to force the Ice Lions back into center. This is Ingus. Ingus will send it down. No ice here with the penalty kill still in effect for another 20 seconds. Penn State trying to get one last rush on this power play. Look out here, though. Inside, shot from Lucas and a save by Seifarth, but he drew a penalty along the way. We're going to 4-on-4 for 10 seconds, then it'll be a Wake Forest power play.
Hear me out. Sometimes getting on that penalty kill is what you need, and I think that is the case right now for Wake Forest. Given that they are able to kill off this next 10 seconds of 4-on-4, they are going to be electric coming out of the box. They did a really nice job there on that penalty kill. Penn State with a lot of passing. We're going to get another look here at what drew this one for Penn State.
Big hook on Jagger Lucas right there. It's the second time John Paul Hayes taking a seat in the penalty box for Penn State today. 11:50 left in this middle frame. We're going to be 4-on-4 for the next 6 seconds, and then Tommy Albright will step out of the box, and Wake Forest heads to a power play. Tolv goes out of his net to play this one, negates an icing, and now we have a Demon-Deacon power play for the next minute 47. Wake Forest in center. This is Mitchell. Drop pass there for Danaher. Sends it across to McKee. McKee creeping in on the circle. Will leave it down low to Lucas. Lucas inside. One more touch for Mitchell. Nobody can find it. Still loose in front. Mitchell backhand, a save by Seifarth. And one last hit for good measure there, delivered by Ben Grasser.
One of Wake Forest's best chances all night there, and a sequence of saves for Seifarth. Again, Wake Forest was in on tight, especially given their man advantage. We're going to get another look at this here. Everybody crashing in all at once, and nobody was able to capitalize.
Yeah, the best opportunity there for Danny Mitchell in tight. He had a backhand opportunity that was muffled on its way to Seifarth, and then he took down Ben Grasser after Seifarth covered up that puck to make sure number 23 in blue felt the message. Minute 28 left in this Wake Forest power play. Declan Maloney sends this defensive zone draw win all the way down to Tolvy's end of the ice. Wake Forest trying to get recharged here. This is Corwin. Corwin drops it back down to Farland. Corwin looking for a passing lane in his defensive end, facing a little bit of pressure from Downs. Here comes Downs. Downs with the takeaway inside, saved by Tolv. John Tolv, a shorthanded stop on Downs. Wake Forest trying to get the power play going now with under a minute left on it. Corwin up ahead. Here comes Ingus. Ingus will dump it into the offensive zone. First one there is going to be McCuskey. Wake Forest trying to get this thing set up. This is Farland. Farland getting some pressure there from Tim Shizhin. Tim Shizhin takes down Farland. Loose puck behind the crease. Tim Shizhin sees it. Can't get it out, though. This is held in here by the Demon Deacons. Wake Forest trying to get a power play opportunity here with just 18 more seconds left. At the point, this is going to be held in by McGregor. McGregor down to the circle. McGregor sends it across. Nobody home on that pass. Corwin's forced to chase it into neutral. Liam Corwin goes back into his end of the ice, and this will take off the rest of the penalty to John Paul Hay. Colin Rosado sends it over to a teammate there. Long-range shot from Snow, patted aside by Seifarth. Penn State trying to recharge the offense here. In neutral, Penn State dumps it in. First one there is going to be Neisner. Matthew Neisner taking off the puck for a moment there by McGregor. Now scramble on the far side, sends it around to this near end. Colin Rosado there for Wake Forest. Rosado loses the puck to Kiley. Outside, Neisner with a shot, blocked down in front. A great sliding block there from Ross McKee. Foot race here, and this will be no ice. Seifarth goes out to play it. The only one there was a Demon Deacon. Wake Forest has offensive zone possession again with Rosado. Rosado down low, has that pass intercepted by Salamone. Sorry, this is Trindade with a shot that goes high. Sebastian Kiley leaves for Salamone. Now inside, this is Hay. Hay loses the puck there, and now we have a whistle. A slash spotted by the far official. We'll let you know more about it when we come back from this media timeout. Well, as we're coming back into play here, you can see a dejected Colin Rosado skating off to the box for Wake Forest. A slash was spotted by the trail official right as we were going into break, and now we got it right here for you. Colin Rosado just trying to get the puck away from John Paul Hay, and they said that those little stick checks were a little bit too much from number 22 in gold, and Wake Forest is shorthanded again. This is Tim Shijan on the power play. Leaves for Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller a shot. Blocked down in front by Wake Forest. Demon Deacons trying to get out of their own end. Szymanski with a keep in for Penn State. Partridge back up to the point with Tim Shijan. Over to Wes Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller inside. He was looking for Ben Grasser. Couldn't get the shot off. Szymanski collects it on the near end. Over for Grasser. Grasser back down to Szymanski, up for Tim Shijan. Tim Shijan across to Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller. Tim Shijan. Over one more Szymanski. Szymanski a shot saved by Tolv. Rebound for Schwartzmiller. A sliding block there from Zach Nacy. Wes Schwartzmiller, though, still dangerous on the power play. Schwartzmiller looking at his options, chooses Tim Shijan. Back down to the circle. This is Szymanski. Szymanski inside, a save by Tolv in tight. Around the boards, this is Grasser. Back up top, Tim Shijan again. Tim Shijan to the circle with Schwartzmiller. Inside, Grasser a shot. Sliding save by Tolv, and Wake Forest will clear. Jack Stadheim finally gets it out of the defensive end for Wake Forest, but look out here, Penn State has numbers. This is Tim Shijan, now slowing down. Tim Shijan will spin. Leaves it on the side for Downs. Downs back up for Tim Shijan. Tim Shijan, one-time shot there, well wide by Messner. 40 seconds left on the penalty to Rosado. Inside, a shot there from Neisner, gloved down by Tolv. He'll hold. 7:17 left in the second. 34 left on the power play for Penn State. A good glove save there for John Tolv.
These past few minutes have really been all Tolv. I mean, he has looked great tonight, despite those two goals earlier on in this game. We're going to get another look at this most recent chance here for the Lions. Look at that. Flashing the leather is Tolv. Great glove save from him. He's so sound with all of his gear. You need him to stick out a pad, he will do that. You need him to glove something down, he will do that. There's no weak spot for him right now.
Penn State still working on the power play for another 20 seconds. This is Marvis with a shot tipped in front wide by Downs. McKee trying to get it out. Downs keeps it in for the moment. McKee will go the other way, and now this is Messner who holds it in for Penn State. Messner, though, can't hit Whipkey on that pass. Free clear for the Demon Deacons, and that should kill out the rest of Rosado's penalty. Rosado standing up in the box, and now he's back out onto the ice. We're at 5-on-5 here. Pass there, finds the stick of Marvis. Now Marvis one-on-one in the offensive end for Penn State. Marvis trying to cut inside. Nobody home on that pass. Wake Forest sends it into center. Foot race here. Look out. Here comes Custable. Custable shot saved by Seifert. Adam Custable with a breakaway there. Couldn't get it past Seifert yet again. Corwin in his defensive end, facing some pressure there from Marvis. He'll use the glass to play it into center. Wake Forest forced into their defensive end again. It's Custable. He'll play catch with Corwin. Corwin, long pass there. He finds a wide open Jagger Lucas. Now here's Lucas with a shot well wide of Seifert. Wake Forest still dangerous here. Long range shot though. He'll have a lively rebound off the boards and force Tommy Albrighton to collect it in center. Albrighton's stretch pass is offline, and he was well behind the red line. This will turn into icing against the Demon Deacons.
Those breakaway chances there for Wake Forest are exciting to see how they fare out again. Really favoring those long-range shots against Seifert. But we're going the other way now, as the Ice Lions ever dangerous. Still wielding a 2-goal lead, but these shots are pretty much even on goal, 18-19 apiece in favor of Penn State.
Wake Forest into the offensive end. Shot there was wide of the cage. That one coming off the stick of Kellen Danaher. Wake Forest back in center again with Albrighton. Albrighton up ahead, has his pass read by Maloney. And now here comes Penn State for a moment. Albrighton, though, able to recover for Wake Forest. Wake Forest into the offensive end here with McGregor. McGregor has taken off the puck there by Maloney. Maloney will use the half wall and get it into center. Now here comes Penn State with speed. This is Kiley. Across. Hay with a shot and a stick save there for Tolv. Wake Forest trying to catch Penn State in transition the other way. Back to recover is Salamone. Salamone with a stretch pass there. Penn State into the offensive end with the dump and chase. This is Schwartzmiller. Wes Schwartzmiller taken into the boards there, facing a little bit of pressure from Eddie Kane. At the point, a long shot from Grasser goes wide of Toll. Now this is Groton. Blake Groton spins. Blake Groton in center will take a shot that goes wide. Schwartzmiller to the outside with Grasser. Grasser inside, and his pad save for Tolv. Groton in front, and what a stop from Tolv there. Looked like he was out of position, able to catch just enough of that one with his shoulder. Long play there will force Seifert to stick it aside. Salamone in his own end for Penn State. Finds John Paul Hay. Hay up ahead for Groton. He'll deflect it into the end. Offensive end, no ice. Liam Corwin there for Wake Forest. Corwin trying to get it out of the zone. He can't get it out for the moment. Officials say no, high stick there. McCuskey will play it up ahead. That one bounces into the stands here right in front of us. And we'll get a face-off. It appears in Wake Forest's defensive end.
Puck goes out of the park. Nice little souvenir for some of the fans here. Drawn a lot of Wake Forest students, but some local youth staying up late to watch this game on this lovely Friday night here in Winston-Salem. Thank you all again for joining us on AAU Plus.
Offensive zone draw for the Ice Lions here will be taken by Alex Marvis, and he wins it. Shot there from Partridge is blocked down in front. That was Joey Messina getting in the shooting lane. And now here comes Wake Forest the other way. Nate Whipke back there for Penn State. He'll use the boards to try to get it out. It's held in for the moment by Furland. And now here comes Penn State in neutral. Marvis looking for Szymanski. Finds Marvis. Now Partridge. Partridge cutting inside. Tolv able to shut down that 5-hole. He seemed a little bit uncertain for a moment, but he comes up with the stop in tight on Partridge.
I was a bit uncertain too. I wasn't sure where that puck was. Partridge seemed like let's take a look at it here of when exactly he decided to shoot that. He's going to come in tight, hold it for a little bit. I thought he almost still had it on that wraparound there, and that's what he was going to go for, but at some point, Tolv was able to stop that with his pad and sandwich that in there.
Wake Forest now looking for a shot on Seifert. They can't get it right there. Demon Deacons still trying to set up the offense here with Custable. Custable will send it around to the other side. First one there is going to be Marvis for Penn State. Marvis plays it into center. Ross McKee retreats for Wake Forest. McKee finds Corwin. Corwin can't handle it, and now Marvis is in with Szymanski. Szymanski, though, plays that puck a little bit too far forward and takes McKee into the boards. Evan Ing picks up the puck in center for Penn State. Can't hold it very long, and now here comes McKee. McKee 1-on-2. McKee gets around Whipke with a shot saved by Seifert. The rebound dangerous there. Colin Rosado was ready on the doorstep. Corwin, a long shot, score! Liam Corwin, a point shot deflected by Colin Rosado, and this Wake Forest crowd is really into it here in Winston-Salem.
It took just about 2 periods for the Demon Deacons to strike, and they finally are able to do so. It is going to be the captain, number 22, Colin Rosado, for Wake Forest. The fans are going nuts. And after a few good sequence of chances there in tight on Seifert, Rosado was able to pick up that final rebound. We're going to get a look at this right here. Let's see it.
Whipke tries to play it out. It's held in by the point at Corwin. And Corwin just kind of flings it at the net. Colin Rosado cruising in the slot, able to get a chunk of it. And Wake Forest finally beats Seifert. We will not go 3 straight games with a shutout here, Bailey.
And that's why they take those long-range shots, because that's what they want to get out of it. Either they're obviously able to put one in off the initial shot, or they're able to sweep in for that rebound. Wake Forest has not been able to do that yet tonight until now.
Downs was trying to get it right back there. He couldn't get around the 1-on-2 effort. Penn State recollecting it in center with Klober. Penn State pushes it into the offensive zone. This is Maloney. Declan Maloney down low to Klober. Klober tried to play it up for Maloney. He didn't realize his teammate was changing, and now Salamone has to take it all the way back to his own end of the ice. Jake Salamone gets hit into the boards hard there. Big check from Jack Stadheim. Penn State, though, able to recover. They're into the offensive end. This is Downs. Downs on the near circle. Inside, he was looking for the pass to Messner. A long shot there, just wide from Salamone. Under 2 minutes to play here in the middle frame. Wake Forest most recently cutting this lead in half. Ryan Trindade traces this one all the way back to Penn State's red line. Trindade Plays it off the glass up ahead, but it'll be taken away here by the Demon Deacons. This is Kane. Kane trying to play it into neutral. Penn State stalls him up for another second. And now here come the Demon Deacons again. This is Jagger Lucas. Lucas gets around one. Inside, he was looking for the cross grease pass to Snow. Big takedown there by Matthew Neisner. Wake Forest fans wanted to call. Officials say play on. 1 minute remaining in this middle 20. Penn State just trying to escape here. You can feel a big momentum shift in the building. This is John Paul Hay. Hay into the offensive end. Draw past Neisner. Neisner backhands it towards the cage. That one's blocked down in front. Here comes Wake Forest again. A big check from Neisner on the boards, trying to take Walter Ingus off the puck. Slow moving puck picked up by Custable with a shot. That one's blocked down by Trindade before it got to Seifert. 30 seconds remaining here in the middle frame. Shot there from Custable. Rebound. Score! Adam Custable! We're tied at 2!
I'm getting deja vu because that is exactly how Wake Forest scored just a few moments ago. They are finally figuring out how to get their guys in deep. Just stand in that crease and they're going to be able to corral that rebound. That is how they're going to beat John Seifert. And here we are, 2-2 with just 26 seconds left to go. We're going to get another look at this last Wake goal.
So this is Rosado down below the net, finds Custable. Custable gets robbed by Seifarth at first. Seifarth, though, can't hold his own rebound. It bounces back to Custable. Seifarth well out of position to try and block the second effort. And just like that, we're tied at 2 in a matter of moments. Penn State seemed in complete control for the majority of this second period. Wake Forest gets 1 goal from Colin Rosado. Tides change immediately. And Adam Custable ties it with just under 30 seconds left in the frame. Ross McKee now in neutral. Gets around Whipkey. McKee looking for one more. In front! That pass is blocked down by Ing. 1 second left. It's behind the Penn State net. And the Ice Lions take a sigh of relief as Wake Forest was trying to sniff out one more.
Penn State just trying to escape the last few minutes of that period unscathed, but they just weren't able to hold on long enough, running out of steam as the Demon Deacons finally figure out how to beat John Seifarth. And this third period, they're going to want to try and get in close again. Both of those put-ins off of nice rebound opportunities. Seifarth unable to corral. And just like that, we have a 0-0 ball game tonight in Winston-Salem. Seems like the entire city is out here tonight at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds, home of the Twin City Thunderbirds. Beautiful arena, and we have more beautiful hockey on deck for you. A whole other period of play left to go.
Yeah, absolutely. This crowd was a little bit quiet for the majority of that middle frame. Colin Rosado with that high slot deflection to pump some life here into the crowd at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds. And then right after that, Adam Custable tying up the game with less than 30 seconds remaining in the second period. And Bailey, this 6-3 matchup, it's a bit of a fun one here to close out our opening day of the ACC playoffs on AAU Plus and YouTube.
I think if you're following ACC hockey, you may not have expected this caliber and this close of a game, but Penn State, we've seen them struggle with first-round matchups before. Last year, when they won it all, their toughest game was their first game against Maryland. That was the 1 versus the 8 seed, I believe, last year. Maryland gave them a run for their money. I believe Penn State only won that game 3-2, Andy?
Yep, that is correct. Maryland pushed Penn State to the edge in this opening round 9 p.m. puck drop game. Penn State, probably the longest journey of any of these teams that has to go to Winston-Salem for this annual playoff tournament. So if you want to catch these Ice Lions, you want to get them on that opening day when they're still kind of tired. They have, as we like to say at UMD, those bus legs that can really sink you on those big road trips.
But still, this game is tied, and Penn State still obviously a very structurally sound team. They're going to want to obviously shape things up in the locker room. They didn't really fall apart there until those last 3 or 4 minutes of this second period here. And Wake Forest, again, having that home field advantage is obviously always going to bode well in your favor. Again, the fans are loving this.
Absolutely. After both goals, the first thing Wake Forest did was go right up to the crowd where that student section is and jump into the glass. They are embracing this home ice advantage here in Winston-Salem. We'll be back in a moment with the ACCHL playoffs on AAU Plus and YouTube. Welcome back to the ACCHL playoffs on AAU Plus and YouTube. We are now joined by Penn State coach Peter Brumberg. And Coach, Wake Forest with 2 goals late in that second period. What did you see differently from the Demon Deacons as they closed out that middle 20?
It was our team. We just stopped skating for the last 5 minutes.
And, Coach, it seems like Demon Deacons are striking in off of those rebound opportunities. What do you plan to tell just your defensive core? How are you going to get in front of that into this third period?
Just clean up in front of the net. We talked about it all year. Got to take bodies, got to take sticks, and simple as that.
And, Coach, you had a power play goal in the first period courtesy of Wes Schwartzmiller, a couple of power play opportunities that fizzled out in that middle frame. What adjustments are you going to make to your special teams unit for that third period of play if you get any opportunities?
No changes. The goalie made some nice saves, and that's part of the game.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Coach.
Thank you.
That was Penn State head coach Peter Brumberg joining us here for the intermission at Winston-Salem. We'll be back with your intermission highlights in a few. Welcome back to the ACCHL playoffs on YouTube and AAU Plus. My name is Andy Parr, joined alongside Bailey Unchester. And Bailey, that was quite a Jekyll and Hyde period, if you want to call it that, between Wake Forest and Penn State for that second frame.
Yeah, kicking off the first period here, we would not have been able to predict how this one went. Again, very back and forth on both sides, and it's Wake Forest who ends up with 2 late in the period goals to come back from nothing and really just get this stadium popping for the first time tonight. A lot of fan turnout, and we are all knotted up here heading into the third.
Yeah, and as we look back on that second period, it seemed like it was going to be all Penn State. Evan Partridge opening up the scoring with that 1-on-2 snipe past John Tolve. He gets around the defense and just goes blocker side to get around Wake Forest netminder. But then Wake Forest starts the comeback effort here. Clearing attempt by Nate Whipke is held in by Corwin, and then a deflection in front from Rosado. They're finally able to get one past Seifarth by changing the direction in tight on number 30 in blue. And then with 30 seconds left in the period, Wake Forest getting some extended offensive zone time. Look out for Adam Custable in tight. Picks up his own rebound, deposits it behind Seifarth. And all of a sudden, we're tied at 2, Bailey.
Yeah, both of those goals for the Demon Deacons looking very similar. They really love to have those crash-in opportunities. They are not a dump-and-change type of team because they know if they can all enter that zone quickly before that other team has time to effectively set up, they might be able to put one in either off a long-range shot or one of those following rebounds, and that's finally been the way to beat John Seifarth, who has been immaculate tonight before this second period.
Yeah, it's been a very even game so far. The scoreboard says it's 2 apiece, and then it also says shots on goal, 21 for each side. Wake Forest, Penn State, the 6-3 matchup, delivering a very even game so far. We'll be back for the third period of play in about 5 minutes here on YouTube and AAU+. Welcome back to the ACCHL playoffs on AAU Plus and YouTube. My name is Andy Parr, joined alongside Bailey Unchester here for the final game of day one, this opening round, the 6-3 matchup between Wake Forest and Penn State. And after two, maybe a little bit surprisingly, Wake Forest able to get a late tally in that second period to stay tied with Penn State heading into this decisive final 20, Bailey.
Yeah, two champions facing off against each other. Penn State obviously winning the Premier Division last year, and Wake Forest for the Elite Division winning that championship as well. This is their first year moving up, and they are giving their respective reigning champions a run for their money tonight. Again, we are on upset watch once again. Two of these games so far today have in fact been upsets. We had first game of the day, number 5 Virginia Tech dismantled number 4 High Point, and then a bit of a surprising matchup a bit after that. The number 7 Maryland taking down the number 2 UNC Wilmington. Wilmington was undefeated for about the first half of this 25-26 season, and Maryland, who was a last-minute put-in for the playoffs, and that game came down to really the final wire for Maryland to get the bid here to Winston-Salem, and they are able to take down the number 2 in the process. And once again, yes, as Andy was saying, number 3 taking on number 6. And this one, again, can go either way. Rankings do not matter in this tournament.
I think that's the biggest thing we've learned throughout today is you can throw those rankings right into the trash, because even that 1-8 game between Rowan and Delaware, a shutout does not tell the full story of how close that game between the Blue Hens and the Profs was. 3 incredible games of hockey already so far today. We're in the middle of a 4th and final one, and we're about to go underway in this final 20 here from Winston-Salem. Should be a good one between the Demon Deacons and the Ice Lions.
We are perfectly evened up right now. The score obviously 2-2, but shots on goal both 21 apiece. Both goalies, John Toll for Wake Forest and John Seifarth for Penn State, have been really good so far. A couple high danger saves for both of them. Battle of the Johns.
Battle of the Johns.
This afternoon.
And it certainly has come down to the Johns so far. John Tolve and John Seifarth each making some dazzling stops in their respective creases. As we take a look, head coach Michael Adams in the 4th year of his 20-year plan, rallying his troops for this final period of their opening round game.
Taking on and beating the Ice Lions, I think, is going to be a big step forward in that 20-year plan. They might as well at that point.
Yeah, if they can pull it off from here, that would be a big step in the 20-year plan, as we see Peter Brumberg talking one more time to his Penn State crew before this third period. Each team sending their first line out to start this final 20. Officials blowing their whistles. They want to get going. Players lining up at center. Wes Schwartzmiller against Adam Custable. Schwartzmiller wins it, and the final 20 has begun here in Winston-Salem. Whipkey, long pass there, no ice, as Tommy Albrighton had a chance to play that puck. Penn State keeps it in the offensive zone for a moment. That was Groton who was dumping it in deep. Now here comes Wake Forest the other way. This is Snow. Jesper Snow with a shot patted aside there by Seifarth. Penn State trying to get it out of the defensive zone. Wake Forest keeps it in for a moment, and now Wes Schwartzmiller will play it up for Ing. Evan Ing. Inside, he was looking for one more pass across to Groton. That one was read well by James McGregor. And now here comes Wake Forest the other way. This is Rosado. Rosado with a shot from the far circle. That one was stopped by Seifarth, and he'll cover. He had to wait an extra second for the officials to blow their whistles, and it gave Penn State and Wake Forest some time to give each other some friendly taps.
Yeah, Rosado trying to go 1-on-3 there. Managed to get a decent shot off on Seifarth, but Seifarth's able to cover that one up. We're going to get a defensive zone draw here for the Lions.
Wake Forest wins the offensive zone faceoff at the point. It's held in for the moment by Kane, and now Marvis still can't get it around Kane. Eddie Kane, a couple of good keep-ins there. Penn State still trying to get the puck out of their defensive zone, and now they will as it's picked up by Angus in center. Now this is Kane. Kane dumps it in past the red line. Maloney back there for Penn State. Maloney up ahead, uses the boards to play it for Partridge. Evan Partridge. Inside, he was looking for Szymanski. Szymanski never got a touch on that puck. Colby pads it aside. Penn State on the far end. Loses the puck to Wake Forest. Now here come the Demon Deacons again. This is Dowdett. Landon Dowdett in the offensive zone. Sends a pass out in front. Nobody home there for Wake Forest. Kept in at the point for the moment by Nacy. Wake Forest trying to set up the offense here. Good job by Penn State to take him away from the puck. And now Chase Timshijan has it in neutral. Chase Timshijan into the offensive zone. One-on-one. Gets bested by Ross McKee. Chase Timshijan, though, picks it up right in front of his own bench before he heads off for a change and dumps it back in. Corwin around the boards. And Wake Forest will send it out the zone. It's held in for the moment by Salamone, but he mishandles it. And look out here. Here comes Wake Forest. And alone. Score! Jack Stadheim! Wake Forest leads by 1.
Stadheim absolutely crashing in and a couple beautiful moves in tight there on Seifarth, and he is able to come away with the final say. Just over 2 minutes into this third period, and the Demon Deeks, the number 6 taking on the number 3, they are up for the first time tonight, 3-2. Let's get another look at this last Wake Forest goal.
Stadheim just with a great play to take the puck away from John Paul Hay, holds the puck just long enough, forces Seifarth to make a move, keeps the puck on his stick. He's able to complete the backhand. A beautiful breakaway goal for Jack Stadheim. And for the first time tonight, Wake Forest has a lead against Penn State. Penn State playing from behind now. Whipkey into the offensive end. Gets checked off the puck there. Wake Forest in their defensive zone with Albright. Long stretch pass here. Jagger Lucas with a step. Lucas near circle with a shot. Stick save there by Seifarth. Penn State trying to calm down in their defensive end. Wake Forest keeping the pressure up. Ingus sends it down low. First one there is going to be Messner. Loses the puck, though. Shot there coming off the stick of Danny Mitchell, goes just high. Wake Forest still with the puck in the offensive end. This is Ingus. Ingus, a long-range blast. That one's right into the chest of Seifarth, and he'll hold. But the student section has moved to Seifarth's end of the ice, and they're pounding on that glass to mock Penn State's netminder.
And this home ice advantage has been so great here for Wake Forest. You can tell that this is a team that really feeds off of the energy from their fans. They did a really great job of getting people to show out tonight.
Penn State with a defensive zone win. Chase Timshijan using it the glass to get into center. It's held for the moment by Ingus. Walter Ingus rings it around the boards. Timshijan there for Penn State. Timshijan loses the puck, though. Chance upcoming for Wake Forest. One more pass. Well, that may have been one pass too many. That was Colin Rosado trying to work there with Adam Custable. Wes Schwartzmiller now with a step penalty. Upcoming score! Wes Schwartzmiller, his second goal of the game, ties the score at 3. Delayed call on Wake Forest. It doesn't matter. Number 17 in blue has knotted it up.
Schwartzmiller really taking this game into his own hands tonight, taking the season into his own hands. He now has 19 goals for the Ice Lions this season, and we're going to get another look at this last play. This is going to go coast to coast here, starting all the way in the Penn State end. That initial trip there that really tied everybody up a little bit, made maybe Wake Forest pause a little bit as Schwartzmiller is able to just cruise in and get one in right past the blocker side of Tolv.
Incredible individual effort there from Wes Schwartzmiller. Eddie Kane was back to defend. Schwartzmiller did everything he could to just get around him and take a shot on Tolv. Schwartzmiller able to pick the far side. And right after it felt like Wake Forest may have gotten a big blow against Penn State, the Ice Lions take less than a minute to respond. Penn State looking for more. They lose it in the offensive end. Wake Forest plays it into center where it's taken away by John Paul Hay. Back in their own end, Wake Forest waits for the puck. This is Corwin. Liam Corwin on the board, sends it into the corner. First one there is going to be Szymanski of Penn State. He overskates it, though. Wake Forest trying to get it out. Now here comes Partridge in front, score! Sebastian Kiley, back-to-back goals for Penn State. And just like that, Wake Forest goes from being 1 up to 1 down.
Kiley was able to park himself in tight on this near post here right next to Tolv, and when he got that rebound, he was able to put one in right past him. We're going to see if we can get a replay on how this was set up exactly.
Sam Faulkner trying to play it in the corner. He loses the puck to Partridge. Partridge gets in tight on Toll. The first blocker save. The rebound, nobody standing near Sebastian Kiley. He's able to get the backhand off quick enough. And Penn State with 2 goals in the last 34 seconds to take a 4-3 lead after going down 3-2. Talk about a response.
And this is how Penn State likes to play all of their first-round matchups in this tournament. Again, this is very similar, I mentioned before, to last year's Maryland game where Maryland came in as the lower seed and played Penn State really close for most of it. They had some really nice chances in towards the middle, but Penn State was able to pull away at the very end. Looks like they're just a team who really benefits off of those last few moments to really put the dagger in, especially on teams that may be a bit lower than them.
Tommy Albrighton trying to get the momentum back in Wake Forest's favor as he sends that shot high on Seyfarth. Wake Forest still with the puck at the offensive end. It's Albrighton. Albrighton 1-on-3 here, loses it to Whipke, but it's held in at the point there by McGregor. Penn State, though, collects it in their defensive end, and now they skate it safely into the offensive zone. Penn State trying to establish an offensive presence here. This is Neisner. Neisner looking for a passing lane. He had Downs for a moment. That shot was blocked down in front by McCuskey. Penn State regrouping in center. This is Downs. Downs waiting, trying to send it across. Nobody home on that pass. Evan Ing recollects it at the point. Ing will send it south of the goal. Downs in front, score! Carson Downs! Penn State's on fire! And we have a lot of things to talk about after this whistle as they take down Danny Mitchell.
Looks like that was going to be the last straw for Wake Forest, who's been playing physical all game, and then that was when the shoving ended up happening there. 3 back-to-back-to-back goals for the Ice Lions. We are just over 5 minutes into this third period. Let's see how this one played out here.
Around the boards, Evan Ing sends it down low, back in front. Nobody's standing near Downs. He gets a backhand around Tolv. And then all that stuff that occurred after the whistle, they take down Danny Mitchell. Penn State was not happy with Wake Forest number 21. Something must have been said on the ice. Colin Rosado getting his 2 cents in with the official, asking why there was no penalty called against the Ice Lions for after that puck went in the net. And the officials will discuss again here.
That goal looked so similar to Penn State's last goal, the Kiley goal, where again, it's just that if you can have one of your players stand on that near post, that blocker's side.
We're going to see this one more time. This is the goal coming in here. As you can see, nobody's near Downs. He receives this pass in tight. He's able to backhand it around Tolv. And interestingly enough, look at that. Tolv was pushing off the post with his right skate. And it seems like the way they pushed off the post may have been able to move the goal into place. And then I believe they might also be reviewing this for goaltender interference. Wake Forest asking the officials to take another look here as Danny Mitchell was taken down in front of his own netminder in tight.
The good part about this tournament here is that we have replay assists for plays like this that these teams are not used to having throughout the regular season. So again, some aspects that could really change the tides of the game, as we have our officials all discussing right now just outside of the ice.
Yep, they're getting the headsets here, and they're going to go to the replay monitor. Couple of things to look at is going to be Tolv's pushing off of that post to see when the post came off, and then the other one would be the goaltender interference potential. We'll see if we can get another look at it up here. Officials taking a tight look at that monitor now. Wake Forest planning their strategy, whether this is confirmed or overturned. If Penn State gets this goal on the board, it would be back-to-back-to-back tallies for the Ice Lions. That would be 3 goals in just over 2 minutes for Penn State here. Officials taking a very close look at this play. Penn State and Wake Forest awaiting the decision.
What's your phone number and I'll text you a link if you want.
Still outside. the Zamboni doors, looking at those replay monitors.
What's your number, and I'll text you a link if you want. Oh, yeah, you were here last year.
I was here last year.
That's right. How are you?
You sent me the video.
Yeah, I did. Absolutely.
That was great, yeah. Same number.
Same number. I don't know if I still remember.
All right, we're going to see what the officials are looking at right now to see the review potential. Maybe it could have been this puck potentially played with a high stick before the goal occurred. This would have been on the same offensive zone possession. And since this is not a shot on goal, it's based on the height of the player's shoulder, not the height of the crossbar. So let's take a look and see when that puck is contacted, if that puck is contacted, and how high the stick of John Paul Hay was. What do you see there, Bailey?
It looked pretty even. I understand why they're taking a lot of time on this.
Yeah, it's definitely a tight play. My first reaction on that replay is that this was touched with a high stick. We're getting this really slowed down here, and then that second angle, it's harder to tell. Hay immediately moving his stick downwards, making it tough to tell where the initial point of contact was and if it was above the height of his shoulders.
If the officials are this unsure after this much time, they might just go with the original call after this. That might be my prediction, but again, we're going to see.
That is always the biggest thing to consider in these long reviews where it might be inconclusive evidence. They usually end up going with the call on the ice. And we have a good goal. It is indeed a good goal for Penn State. They say no high stick on the play. And the Ice Lions have another one thanks to Carson Downs.
So a very pivotal point in tonight's matchup going in favor of the Ice Lions. Still 14:58 left to play here in the third. Wake now in a 2-goal deficit.
Wake officially in a 2-goal deficit now, as Bailey just said. That goal, after a lengthy review, was confirmed to be a valid tally for Carson Downs. Wake Forest looking to get it back here. This is Ingus. Up ahead, he had a teammate for a moment. It was Jesper Snow, but he loses the puck to Klober. Klober, a long shot, saved by Tolv in the corner. Downs picks it up. Carson Downs sends it around. This is Messner. Messner out to the point for Tim Shizhin with a shot. That one's blocked down by Custable. Carson Downs trying to corral it in the corner. He can't, and look out here for Jesper Snow. Snow coming in on the far side. Across, in tight off the post. Rebound still loose. Custable couldn't pick it up. Oh my goodness, Colin Rosano knocking the post on that beautiful 2-on-1 feed from Jesper Snow, and now here comes Schwartzmiller. Wes Schwartzmiller into the offensive end. He loses his footing in front. Grasser out of the air. What a stop from Tolv. The baseball shot from Grasser doesn't get through.
Nice little juggle there. You never see that in ice hockey. And yeah, as Andy said, a nice baseball swing on net perfectly. Gosh, if you're John Tolv, you are not expecting that one. He is still able to cover, though. But that was a really nifty chance there for the Ice Lions. That was just fun to watch in general.
A bit of run and gun hockey, high quality chances at both ends of the ice. Goalies coming up with the answer on each side. This is Groton keeping it in for Penn State with a shot. That one's gloved down by Tolv as he had nobody in his sight line there. Another offensive zone draw upcoming for the Ice Lions. They've definitely tilted the ice in their favor over the last 5 minutes, Bailey.
And again, this is how they just so happen to play their playoff games. They save their energy because they expect to go all the way, and we maybe saw them come out with a bit less energy than you would expect. And they were able to keep their act together here in the third period and pull away, but we still have a lot of hockey left to play in front of Wake Forest's home crowd.
Penn State with it in neutral. That's Salamone using the glass to try and play it forward, but he skies it out of play instead. His face-off should come back into the Ice Lion defensive zone.
The Wake students still hanging out here despite their team going down, but with a bit less excitement than we maybe saw them
Yeah, a lot more docile than they were in the first two periods for sure, or even the start of this third period when Jack Stadheim put the Demon Deacons up 3-2. Schwartzmiller gets it out of defensive zone with Grasser. Now here comes Grasser. He's got Groton with him. Grasser across, Groton in front, saved by Toll, then he covers.
Toll was such a casual cover to end that sequence, and that didn't match up to how dangerous that chance was just there for the Ice Lions coming in tight. Once again, let's see here. Yeah, look at that. That puck just dropped perfectly in front of Tolv after Blake Groton was crashing in.
Offensive zone draw for Penn State is won by Wake Forest, and now the Demon Deacons are in center. This is Nacy chipping it into the offensive zone. Going into the boards here is Danaher against Whipkey, and Ing ends up with the puck. Here come the Ice Lions here with Partridge. Evan Partridge, who has one tally tonight for Penn State, loses the puck on the boards, and now McGregor feeding it up ahead for Danaher. Kellen Danaher surveying his options into the offensive zone. Danaher spinning behind the Penn State net. Danaher feeds it inside. One more touch. Score! Jagger Lucas in tight on Seifarth, and it's 5-4.
Lucas going upper deck right there on Seifarth. He had that entire high glove side wide open. He's able to just absolutely shelf that one in all alone at the post. That was a great put in right there. Let's take a look.
Into the offensive zone here, that's Danaher. Danaher spinning around the Penn State net. He goes with the one-touch pass inside for Mitchell. Mitchell backhands it over to Jagger Lucas. No chance there if you're John Seifarth. And we've got some physicality right in front of the Wake Forest student section. They're back into this one here in Winston-Salem. Sent all the way down. This one is right at Seifarth, and he'll cover. 12:08 left here in the third period. Penn State had back-to-back-to-back goals just before that tally from Jagger Lucas. Offensive zone draw upcoming for the Demon Deacons. They've got their first line out on the ice with Custable. Custable ties up this draw at the point. This is held in by Ingus. Ingus sends it to his partner Kane. Kane down low for Custable. Custable will rotate around the boards, but the first one there is Declan Maloney of the Ice Lions. Maloney trying to get out of the zone. It's held in for the moment there by Ingus, who sends it down low. Neisner trying to get it out. Kane with a keep in for a second. Custable rings it around the boards again. Maloney there for Penn State. Maloney one-on-one against Rosado. Leaves for Kiley. Up ahead to his brother Sebastian. Sebastian Kiley picking up speed. Kiley with a shot right into the chest of Tolv, and he'll hold. John Tolv gets the whistle there. And we're going to take a media timeout here. We'll be back in about 90 seconds here for the conclusion of this good one between Wake Forest and Penn State on AAU Plus and YouTube. Welcome back to the ACCHL playoffs on AAU Plus and YouTube. My name is Andy Parr, joined alongside Bailey Unchester for this fourth and final game for the opening day here of the M2 Premier Playoffs. And Bailey, we're shaping up for an exciting finish here in Winston-Salem between the number 6 Demon Deacons and number 3 Ice Lions.
One of the best of the 4 games so far today, and we saved it for last. The 9 p.m. slot here at Wake Forest's home arena. And Penn State is just barely holding on to a 5-4 lead tonight.
Yep, Penn State with back-to-back-to-back goals earlier in this period to go up 5-3, but Jagger Lucas breathing some life back into Wake Forest moments ago. Still 11-11 left here in the third. Wake Forest trying to get a breakout going here with Faulkner. Faulkner up ahead, he finds the stick of Dowdett. Dowdett gets around one. Dowdett inside, saved by Seifarth. What a stop there by John Seifarth in tight on Dowdett. At the point, this is McKee, still dangerous. McKee with a shot. Dowdett was looking for the tip in tight. He never got a deflection in.
That would have been absolutely game-changing there for Wake Forest. Such a nice chance there for them. We're going to look at it here. Oh, he was so close to having Seifarth beat, but he was able to get to that far post so effortlessly to keep that one out.
Wes Schwartzmiller wins this faceoff for Penn State. Evan Ing trying to get out of the zone, and Tommy Albright can't handle it at the blue line. Look out here for Grasser. Grasser, one-on-one, backhands it wide of Toll. Blake Groton trying to hold this at the point against Albright, and Albright checks him off the puck, but Whipkey holds it in center. Plays it over to Ing. Evan Ing sends it across for Schwartzmiller. Wes Schwartzmiller inside. Grasser, a shot saved by Toll. The rebound is swept out of harm's way right there. Wes Schwartzmiller. Still dangerous for Penn State. Schwartzmiller across, he overshoots Whipkey, and Whipkey will have to chase it back in center. Ing is the first one there. Back over to Whipkey. Nate Whipkey finds Grasser, no ice here as he deflects it past the red line. Wake Forest recharging in their own end. This is McGregor. James McGregor up ahead, finds a teammate, it's Mitchell. Danny Mitchell chips it deep into the offensive zone. Taken off the puck there by Partridge, and he'll sky it through center. It's held in there. The officials say that Walter Ingus able to hold the blue line on that one. Penn State bench was not too pleased with that call. Wake Forest will try and take advantage here. Long-range shot there from Kane goes well wide of Seifarth. Danny Mitchell. Mitchell leaves it on the boards. It's picked up by Danaher. Danaher will send it down low. First one there is Partridge for Penn State. It's held in by Kane for the moment, and now it's back in center. Kane loses the puck to Partridge. Partridge sends it across. Szymanski on the far side. Cutting inside. Partridge, one more, and it's held out. Danny Mitchell, a big defensive stick at the end there as Tolby was out of position. Mitchell plays it off the glass. Penn State holds it in for a moment. This is Kane now. Kane trying to get a breakout going. Danaher plays it into center. Szymanski, though, recovers for Penn State and plays it back for John Paul Hay. Up ahead, Sebastian Kiley. Kiley, a shot saved by Tolv again, and he'll jump on top of it. John Tolv facing lots of pressure in crunch time in this third period, Bailey.
Yeah, Wake Forest, they're not taking any defensive chances right now. They don't really care about positioning. They just care about getting back when they need to. They've been able to do so far within these past few minutes.
Wake Forest with a defensive zone draw win. They'll send this down the length of the ice. Good play there from Custable to beat out an icing, but Penn State has it the other way for the moment with Trindade. Little mishandle by the Ice Lions there. Trindade forced to go behind Seifarth to clay it again. Kiley with the puck for Penn State. Sebastian Kiley trying to move it forward for Neisner. Neisner with a little bit of room. He'll push it into center. This is James McGregor. McGregor sends it towards Seifarth and never got all the way there. Penn State trying to kill off the rest of this. 8 minutes left in the third period. Wake Forest looking for the tying tally. Neisner getting into the offensive zone for Penn State. Loses the puck in the corner. And now this is McGregor playing it around the boards for Albright and back over to McGregor. James McGregor, long pass there. He was looking for it all. Didn't quite connect with Dowdett. Now this is Leland Kiley. Leland Kiley facing a lot of pressure there. Gets it back into center. Wake Forest has got to wait for everybody to get past the blue line. Now into the offensive end. This is McGregor with a shot. That one's blocked by Whipkey and out of play. Wake Forest starting to up the ante here in the third period, Bailey.
Yeah, and we just have 7:37 left to play. Wake Forest still down by 1. Andy, if it comes to this, please remind us of the overtime rules for this playoff section. We are unaware.
I know that it does end in a shootout. They don't do continuous overtime. I can confirm that, but I don't know if it is 5-on-5 or 3-on-3.
Well, Wake Forest still has to put one in past Seyfarth for this to even come to that, as we are just past 11 p.m. here in Winston-Salem. Hopefully we have before midnight. I have an assignment due at 11:59, but they're going to play on regardless.
Something tells me you might need a little bit of an extension on that one, Bailey.
We will see.
This puck is held in by Ingus for the moment, and now Penn State will send this the length of the ice for another icing call against the Ice Lions. 7:21 left in the third period. Wake Forest now in the lead in the shots on net department, 32-30 in favor of the Demon Deacons. Ever since that Jagger Lucas goal, they felt like that Penn State is just a bit vulnerable. Ice Lions trying to shut it down for another 7:21. Sam Faulkner loses the face-off here at his offensive end, and Penn State trying to play it into center. It's held in by McKee. McKee, a shot blocker saved by Seyfarth. He sends it into the corner. Klober plays it into center. Dowdett trying to keep the pressure on for Wake Forest. That one overskated there by Quinn Farland of the Demon Deacons. And then after the whistle, we have a little bit of a late shove there from Carson Downs.
Sam Faulkner went down, spinning after that one. Maybe tried to sell that a little bit, but we're going to play on here tonight. 7:03 left to go in the third period.
Penn State putting their first line back out onto the ice now. Wes Schwartzmiller winning this face-off into his defensive end for Chase Timshijan. Timshijan up ahead for Groton. Groton will just send it into Wake Forest defensive zone. Corwin there for the Demon Deacons. Plays it right back to Timshijan. Timshijan finds Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller drops. Groton inside. Groton can't get the shot off as he's taken down hard. The net comes off behind Tolvey. Penn State wants a call bad. The officials won't give him one.
Groton just ran out of room there, and the only place left to go was into the net. Tolvey's going to get out of there real quick. He doesn't want any more activity after the play. Looks like he might switch out his stick as well.
Wake Forest changing up their lines here. John Tolv going back to his net after another keep out here in tight. Groton barreling into the net, gets taken down really hard there by Ross McKee. Wes Schwartzmiller got a brief exclamation from the officials after that whistle for why there was no call. And we play on at 5-on-5. Chase Timshijan tries to handle it in center. He can't. And now Jesper Snow the other way. In deep for Rosado. Rosado leaves to Custable. Back around for Rosado. Rosado trying to feed in front. The only one there is Ben Grasser. Grasser the other way for the Ice Lions. Grasser on the far circle. Grasser trying to cut inside. Grasser now in the near circle. Back up to the point for Maloney. Has that pass read by Snow. Snow for Rosado. He can't handle it, and Declan Maloney picks up the puck. Maloney, though, can't get it around. McGregor. McGregor sends it across for Snow with a shot. That one's gloved out of the air by Seyfarth.
Snow with a nice long-range shot there, far point. But again, Seyfarth having the answer now is some shoves after the play. Both teams going to change off to make sure nothing escalates from there.
A few ticks over 6 minutes left in this third period. Wake Forest with another offensive zone draw here. They've got their second line out on the ice. Jack Stadheim to take this faceoff. Stadheim wins it, but Penn State's first to the puck. This is Szymanski. Szymanski makes Wake Forest retreat all the way to their defensive end. John Paul Hay picks it up again in center, and Marvis will dump it down in for the Ice Lions. Around the boards, this is picked up by McCuskey. McCuskey sends it into center where Szymanski's there for Penn State. Szymanski sends it down the ice. First one back is going to be Walter Ingus. Ingus. Penn State trying to get it out of their defensive zone now. This is Marvis. Alex Marvis dumps it in as he needs a change. First one back there is going to be Kane. But out in front, there was nearly a turnover there to the Ice Lions. All alone sitting in front of Tolv would have been Ethan Szymanski. Wake Forest the other way now. This is Lucas. Lucas cutting inside. He can't get the shot off cleanly. One more pass. Corwin in tight. He doesn't get a shot off either. Salamone tries to play it into the corner. Back in front, Danny Mitchell has it. Jagger Lucas sends one more across to Danaher. He couldn't get it off cleanly. Danaher inside. Lucas with a shot. He broke his stick. Corwin down low in front. No goal as Danaher's poking at it. Oh my goodness, Wake Forest with a flurry of chances in tight. Still dangerous here with Dowdett. Dowdett sends it across. Shot one more. And that pass was just wide of the cage. Dowdett's taken down. That's going to be a trip on Penn State. Penalty upcoming as Kane has the puck. Tolv on his way to the bench. Extra attacker out there for Wake Forest. Inside, one-timer. Shot by Dowdett goes just wide. He has an open cage. Penn State touches it up. They're going to go shorthanded here. But Wake Forest, so many chances there, Bailey.
Oh my goodness, that was some of the best sequences I've seen from the Demon Deacons all night. And even though they weren't able to capitalize with a goal, they are able to capitalize by drawing a penalty from Sebastian Kiley. And we're going to get yet another look here at this Wake Forest power play.
Look at that close opportunity there for Landon Dowdett. It appeared he had some daylight on the short side. Just couldn't keep the puck on net. As Leland Kiley touches up, his brother Sebastian goes to the box for Penn State with just over 4 minutes left in this third period. Wake Forest unsuccessful on the power play so far, looking to change that here. Into the offensive zone, this is McCuskey. McCuskey sends it across, nobody home on that pass. Wake Forest still trying to set it up, this is McGregor. McGregor plays it across Rosado, a long shot in tight. A good stop there off the deflection with Seifert. Evan Ing will use the boards to get it around, but it's held in at the point for the moment by McGregor. McGregor kicks it forward. Wake Forest still has the puck. McGregor at the point. Over for Rosado. Rosado chooses his options, goes back to McGregor with a shot. That one's blockered down by Seifert. Wake Forest humming on this power play. Down low, this is Snow. He kicks it around to Custable. Back over to Snow. Snow looking out for a pass. Nobody home there. Penn State with a steal. McGregor can't hold the blue line. Wake Forest has to check up. 52 seconds left on the penalty to Sebastian Kiley. This is McGregor. McGregor one-on-one with a shot that goes high. Evan Partridge picks it up for Penn State and he'll send it down the ice. John Tolv goes out of his net to play it. He'll use the boards to send it up around. Just 34 seconds remaining on the penalty to Sebastian Kiley. Long stretch pass here. Wake Forest looking for it all on that one. This is Danaher poking it into the offensive zone. First one there is Declan Maloney for Penn State, but Danaher with a keep-in. Danaher across, looking for the pass there was Stadheim. He got it off his skate. Jagger Lucas on these near boards playing with Stadheim. Stadheim trying to feed it across. Downs, though, gets the puck, and he sends it down the ice here, as that should kill off the rest of the penalty to Sebastian Kiley. A great response from Penn State after that penalty.
We have just about 2 minutes left here, and that was a nice hit there, getting the Wake Forest fans still having some hope. We're going to be on watch here for John Tolby to see what Wake decides to do with him for these last 2 minutes.
Officially back to 5-on-5 with now 2 minutes remaining in the period. Long shot there from Danaher, save, rebound, score! Jagger Lucas! We're tied at 5!
Jagger Lucas, the midnight hour man. He has just been electric so far in this third period for Wake Forest, carrying the Demon Deacons on his back. The Wake fans are loving it. We are tied 5-5.
And it is getting very loud here in the Fairgrounds Annex. Jagger Lucas, his second goal of the game, has just tied this one with 1:57 left in the third.
Oh my goodness. This has been the most thrilling game so far.
Let's take
today.
one more look at it here. Declan Maloney has the puck behind his own net. It's held in by Rosado. The long shot from Danaher doesn't get all the way there, but the muffled shot turns into a perfect pass to Jagger Lucas. Penn State and Wake Forest sitting at their benches, and the linesmen are being sent off. Potentially an offside review here on this game-tying tally. Second time we're going to the replay booth in this game tonight, Bailey.
Again, this is so rare for both of these teams. We don't usually have replay assists. Most of these games aren't even filmed usually on anything but Live Barn, but different story tonight as this could potentially change everything.
Yes, this review will determine whether or not Jagger Lucas's game-tying tally will stand. We'll see if we can get a look at what the linesmen are looking at right now off to our left. Michael Adams taking no chances on his bench, drawing up a play in case this is overturned for Wake Forest. Peter Brumberg rallying his troops with Penn State, telling them their plans in case this goal stands. And we have just had an announcement in arena that anything thrown on the ice, if anybody throws something onto the ice, they are subject to being thrown out of the arena. All right, we're about to take a look at what they're seeing on these control panels. Let's see, the puck has to be the first thing to fully enter the zone. Seemed okay on that first replay, as that was Kellen Danaher carrying the puck on that zone entry.
Officials still discussing things over, but now that we have the chance, we have in fact figured out the overtime rules. And those overtime rules in question is 5-on-5 hockey, I believe, until somebody scores.
Good goal on the ice. They determined the play was onside. The call stands, and we're tied at 5. Jagger Lucas, his second tally is confirmed. Kellen Danaher did hold the blue line properly. And what a third period this has been, Bailey.
Let's get another look at this last put in here. Yeah, perfect put in right up top, their top shelf. That's where Seyfarth has struggled a bit so far, those high put-ins.
Yep, those high put-ins and then the deflections in tight have been the two things Wake Forest has used to beat Seyfarth tonight. And we're tied at 5 with 100 seconds left in this third period. Whipkey back at his own end for Penn State. Whipkey plays it into center. Ross McKee there for Wake Forest. We'll play it back for McGregor. McGregor trying to feed it through center. Nate Whipkey lost his stick, and Wake Forest will pick up the puck again with McGregor. McGregor, stretch pass there, trying to hit Rosado. He never got a chunk of it, so this is going to be icing on Wake Forest.
You know, the stick was technically thrown onto the ice. Does that mean he has to get ejected?
No. I have a feeling that was probably for the fans in the stands here. And I never saw anything actually get thrown onto the ice. I think that was just a warning from the arena to
I saw
prepare.
a beer bottle get thrown into the air.
Ah, I see.
But I don't think it was close to making the ice.
Yeah, so just kind of an in-arena warning for all these fans in attendance. Declan Maloney back to play it for Penn State. Maloney. Up ahead, it's taken by Ross McKee in center. He'll send it right at Seyfarth. Seyfarth kicks it aside. It's held in here by Wake Forest. This is McCuskey with less than a minute to go in the third. Back up to the point with Kane. Back down low to McCuskey. McCuskey can't handle it. McCuskey goes into the boards there for Wake Forest. Playing it around the side. Demon Deacons trying to keep it in the offensive zone here with Nacy. Back up at the point. This is Ingus. Ingus, a long shot. That one bounces a couple of weird ways and ends up in the corner. Just 30 seconds remaining in the third period. In front, a shot from Stadheim and two saves there from Seyfarth in tight. Stadheim and Grasser really getting into it right there. As we get a whistle from the officials, the net behind Seyfarth came off its pegs.
And that on Seyfarth almost closed in on him as that was tipping downward. Fans not loving that stoppage.
21.1 seconds remaining here in the third period. Shots on goal, 36-30 in favor of Wake Forest. Score 5 apiece between Demon Deacons and Ice Lions. Last game of the night here on day number 1 has been the best one.
Saving the best for last year. Number 6, number 3 matchup.
The 6-3 matchup has not disappointed in the slightest. McKee, a shot saved there by Seifarth with 15 seconds on the clock. Another keep in here from McGregor. McGregor trying to cut inside. McGregor down low. Penalty drawn. Wake Forest is headed to a power play with 2 seconds remaining in regulation. And assuming that they don't score in this last 1.4 seconds of regulation, this power play will carry into OT for Wake Forest. They've reset the clock to 3 seconds already. It's Evan Ing.
It's Evan Ing. They're catching him off for Penn State. This is exactly what Wake Forest wants right now. What a showdown. That is all I have to say.
What a game this has turned out to be. Wake Forest now up to 37 shots. And they're going to head to the power play for the remainder of regulation, and they've readjusted the clock to 2 seconds again. So it went from 1.4 to 3, and then back down to 2. Maybe a chance at one really quick shot before you go off for the overtime intermission. They've got a set piece ready for McGregor. Maybe have a timeout on the ice here, or they're just discussing the face-off location. All right, now they're ready to play. Rosado to take this face-off against Kiley. McGregor's got a set piece. Kiley wins it, though, so it doesn't matter. Penn State kills off the first 2 seconds, but they let Wake Forest tie it with 1:57 left on the clock, and we're headed to overtime here in Winston-Salem.
We have some free hockey for you tonight. It is late. 11:20 here on February 6th, this Friday night. What else are you doing besides hanging out in the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds? And these fans, I'm sure, are glad that they decided to come out for this one. A back-and-forth game between both squads. Number 3, Penn State, tied up neck and neck with number 6, Wake Forest. Both reigning champions. And again, I said this a little bit earlier in the broadcast, both of these teams, they don't know how to lose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, both of these teams won the tournament in this building last year. Wake Forest doing it at the elite level instead of the premier. But Penn State, they're used to winning. Wake Forest also used to winning. Both of these squads, neither of them want to go home. That ferocious comeback from Wake Forest. 2 goals from Jagger Lucas in the second half of that third period to tie up this game at 5. And Wake Forest will have 1:57 on the power play to begin this overtime. And for overtime, we do not do a full intermission. It's just about a 2-minute pause for both teams to catch their breath, regroup, and then it's sudden death, Bailey.
And again, I mean, both of these teams really have been benefiting off of those, long stretch passes that turn into those breakaway chances. And my prediction, if we see a goal, it is going to come seemingly out of nowhere.
Yep, and I think if you're on both benches, there's one guy on each side that you got to circle down. If you're Penn State, you have to say, we're gluing somebody to Jagger Lucas anytime he's on the ice. And then if you're Wake Forest, somebody's always got to be covering number 17, Wes Schwartzmiller, anytime he steps foot on the playing surface. And now we're going to take a quick look at some of these goals here. This third period was full of surprises. Jack Stadheim opened the scoring to make it 3-2 Wake Forest. But then the Penn State onslaught started with back-to-back-to-back tallies for the Ice Lions right after this play that gave Wake Forest the lead. One more look at that goal from Stadheim, a beautiful backhand here. This is where the Penn State comeback starts. This is Schwartzmiller, gets in on Tolb, snipes it past him to get the score back tied up. One more look at that shot from Schwartzmiller against Tolb. Then 34 seconds after that, it's Sebastian Kiley who gets in tight, picking up the rebound off the shot from Evan Partridge. Kiley with the backhand right around him. Just amazing play here in this third period.
We thought that one was the dagger for Penn State.
We really did at the time. It felt like it just suffocated the building. But the Demon Deacons proving us wrong here in this broadcast booth, and we're in sudden victory overtime here. Stadheim, drop pass, back over to Mitchell. Mitchell sending it across on this power play opportunity for Wake Forest. Wake Forest trying to get the power play set up here. This is Lucas. Back up to the point, McKee. One more to Danaher. Danaher on the near circle. Danaher takes the shot well high. Held in at the point, though, by McKee. Back over to Danaher. Danaher creeping in. Sends it across. That pass was deflected on its way to Lucas. Jagger Lucas. Looking for a passing lane, chooses McKee at the point. Back over to Danaher on the near side. Danaher up to the point for McKee. That pass was interrupted by Schwartzmiller for a moment. Wake Forest scrambling to keep the puck down low. Jagger Lucas has it. Jagger Lucas with a minute left on the power play. Sends it around the boards. It's picked up on the far side by Stadheim. Back up to the point for McKee. Over to Danaher. Danaher over for McKee. McKee sends it chest high. Now this is Danaher. Danaher with 40 more seconds left on this Wake Forest power play at the point. McKee again. Ross McKee goes to the side with Stadheim. Back up to McKee at the point. Over to the side for Danaher. Danaher inside. Lucas a shot. Save. Rebound still loose for Danny Mitchell. He pumps one more on Seifarth and he'll finally cover. That was almost 90 seconds straight of zone time for Wake Forest on that power play, Bailey.
Wake Forest really taking advantage of their man advantage. Evan Ing still in the box here for Penn State. When he comes out, though, that is going to be a huge adjustment that the Demon Deacons are going to have to make. Again, really dominating here, one man up, but they're going to want to get something happening in this next 28 seconds.
Face off here is won by Penn State. Ryan Trindade trying to get out of the zone. It's held in at the far point. Now Whipkey with it. He'll skate into center with Kiley. Up ahead for Whipkey. Whipkey, drop pass Leland Kiley. Across Sebastian with a shot. That one's blocked down in front by Custable. 10 more seconds left on the penalty to Ing. Wake Forest into the offensive zone. This one is whistled down for an offside with 4 seconds remaining on the power play. And behind the play, James McGregor still down on the ice for Wake Forest.
A few players here injured for Wake Forest. McGregor, and we also have, looks like Eddie Kane being helped off with the help of a trainer.
Eddie Kane was just helping the trainer get over to
Oh
McGregor
my goodness,
in case.
I apologize for that. It looked the other way around.
Nope, Eddie Kane appears to be all right. Just a little bit tough to walk on the ice sometimes, so he was escorting the trainer. Let's take one more look at that chance for Kiley, the block shot from Custable. And then McGregor with another shot block right there, and that one seems to get the better of him as he's not able to stand back up.
Taking one for the team that is not, in fact, where your shoulder pads usually reach. Looked like right near that forearm elbow range, and that puck was coming in real hard from a nice shot from this near circle.
Face-off should come back out to neutral here. It's going to be Wake Forest's first line against Penn State's second. Sebastian Kiley against Colin Rosado at the dot. Rosado wins it back for Corwin. Across to McKee. McKee rings it around the boards. First one there is Whipkey for Penn State. Whipkey trying to play it down low to Sebastian Kiley. Kiley up ahead. He finds a teammate there. It's Leland Kiley. Now Ing. Ing into the offensive end. Ing knifing in tight, and a save there in tight on Schwartzmiller. Leland Kiley still dangerous. Back up to the point with Whipkey. Whipkey takes the long shot. Glove down by Tolv, and he'll squeeze. Penn State up to 32 shots on the night compared to Wake Forest 38. Still 5 apiece here in Winston-Salem.
And that was their best chances so far of this overtime period there. I knew that they were going to be an issue as soon as Ing got out of the box. They really flourished playing 5-on-5.
Face-off won by the Demon Deacons. They'll try and skate it out of their own end, but back to play it for Penn State was Declan Maloney. Maloney sends this one down the ice, right at Tolv. He'll stick it out for Corwin. Corwin trying to use the boards to play it for Stadheim. Faced some pressure from Marvis. Stadheim lost his stick. Kicks it over to McKee. Wake Forest trying to get a breakout going here. It's held in again by Marvis. That puck was in his glove for a hot minute. And now this is McKee the other way. McKee one-on-one against Maloney. McKee is in need of a change, so he'll let Maloney take this puck in his defensive end. Tim Shizhin trying to hit a long pass there. He's able to find Partridge. Partridge one-on-one against Corwin in the offensive zone. Partridge passes in front. The only one there is Jake McCuskey of Wake Forest. McCuskey sends it through center. Tim Shizhin there for the Ice Lions. Great play there from Chase Tim Shizhin to make sure no Demon Deacons could get around him on that one. Evan Ing picks it up in Penn State's defensive end. Ing Looking for a passing lane. He's got Szymanski. Szymanski sends it across. Nobody home on that pass. Wake Forest trying to take the puck the other way with Farland. Wake Forest gets it in center with Dowdett. Dowdett rings it around the side. Seifarth goes out of his net to leave it for Whipke. Whipke on the boards. He's crunched there. Dowdett picks up the puck. Kane, a long shot. That goes well wide. Groton trying to get out of the zone. It's held in by Wake Forest again. This is Ingus. Into the corner. It's picked up by Faulkner. Faulkner sends it down low to Jagger Lucas. Lucas still with the puck behind the net. Lucas now in the near circle. Lucas up to the point for Kane. Kane inside. Lucas deflects it wide. Danaher back up to the point. Long shot there is fanned on by McGregor, and that nearly turned into disaster for the Demon Deacons. Evan Ing plays it off the boards, but it's taken away again. Lucas with another shot that's blocked down by Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller pushes it into center with Groton. Groton gets it into the offensive zone as he goes down in a tumble there with Danaher. And it looks like Kellen Danaher might be going off to the penalty box here.
It was a big blow there right by the Penn State bench. And unfortunate for Wake Forest, but slow to get up here is Groton.
Blake Groton got checked there by Kellen Danaher right in front of the Penn State bench. Danaher already in the box with a 5-minute major up on the board. Let's see if we can take another look at that hit. See it right here. So puck is played around the boards. And it was not in frame on that one, it appears. Might not have had the best sight line on it for our cameras up here.
5 minutes in the box right now is just tough. That is so tough for Wake Forest. We just have 5:27 left to go here in this overtime period, which means they're going to have to kill off the majority of that shorthanded.
And we have been informed that if the game requires a second OT, they will do an ice cut between the first and second overtime frames. But Penn State trying to finish it here, and the officials reviewing this 5-minute major call. We'll see if we can see what they're seeing. The initial call was a 5-minute for boarding on Kellen Danaher. Groton standing in front of the Penn State bench here. This one a much better angle of the play. Groton plays the puck. Danaher comes into him afterwards and hits him from behind into the boards head first. Officials deciding if the 5-minute call is worthy or if they'll drop it to a 2. Or they can also take off the penalty entirely. I will say, based on what I'm seeing, I agree with the initial 5-minute assessment. Officials still reviewing it. Now they've taken off the headsets. They've made their decision. And I saw a signal for 2. So they still keep it as a board, but they drop it from 5 minutes to 2 minutes on Kellen Danaher.
The Deeks catching a break there as fans are trying to get right back into this game where we left off. Deeks have to kill off 2 minutes here, shorthanded. Penn State, though, ever so dangerous on their power play.
Yep, look out for number 17 in blue, Wes Schwartzmiller, already with 2 goals tonight. Schwartzmiller on the far circle. He'll take the shot himself. That one's blocked down. He gets his own rebound, though. Schwartzmiller can't handle the puck, and Tim Shijan has to chase it down in center. Chase Tim Shijan all the way back in his defensive end. He'll go behind Seifarth. Tim Shijan picking up speed. Plays it across to Grasser. Then Grasser gets around 1. Now into the offensive zone. Grasser has that drop pass read by Wake Forest, and they'll send it down the ice again. Seifarth goes out of his net to play it. A long stretch pass here for Szymanski, trying to catch the Demon Deacons in a change. Schwartzmiller on the near circle. Up to the point with Szymanski. Back down to Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller in the corner with Grasser. Back down low to Schwartzmiller. Cycles it up to Grasser again. Skip one to Tim Shishin. Szymanski. Ethan Szymanski creeping in on the near circle with a shot. Save Toll. The rebound loose there and swept out of harm's way by Wake Forest. Still dangerous. Tim Shishin rips a shot high. 1 minute remaining on the power play for Penn State as Wake Forest sends this down the ice. Seifert sends it up again, trying to catch Wake Forest in another change. Szymanski on the near circle. Getting in with a shot right at Toll. He'll hold. 4:09 left in the first OT. 43 seconds remaining on this Penn State power play.
Good initial kill there for Wake Forest, doing their best to limit those chances in. A couple nice shots blocked in front. Still, as Andy said, 43 seconds left to kill here.
Face-off is won by Wake Forest, but they can't get it out of defensive end. Neisner trying to play it in deep. Rosado there for the Demon Deacons, and now he'll do the job, sending it down to Seifert. Leaves to Ing. Evan Ing. Slowing things down. Plays it up the boards to Neisner. Neisner. Far circle, sends it right in front. Kiley was looking for a rebound chance in tight. Toll never let him get it. Quick with that glove to cover up the puck off his pad.
Smart cover with 16 seconds left to go here. Both teams going to change out. Penn State putting in some fresh guys who may be the answer with 3:43 left to go here in our first overtime showing.
16 seconds remaining on the penalty to Kellen Danaher. Shots on goal, 38-35 in favor of Wake Forest. Wake Forest wins the faceoff, and Ross McKee sends it down the ice. Back to pick it up. This is Tim Shishin. Tim Shishin for Partridge. Up ahead to Szymanski. Szymanski with speed on the near side. Szymanski looping behind the net in front. Partridge couldn't keep it on goal. Declan Maloney sends it around the boards. First one there is Marvis. Tried to play it for Partridge. Partridge couldn't handle the puck. And now this is Kellen Danaher out of the box. Back at 5-on-5 play. Danaher on the ice. Danaher trying to play it into the offensive zone, being stalled up for right now by Alex Marvis. Danaher still poking at that puck right in front of his own bench. Puck is stuck in neutral. Ross McKee finally skies it into the offensive zone as both teams change. This is Maloney. Plays it across to Tim Shishin. Tim Shishin stretch pass there. He's able to find Grasser. Grasser, though, can't handle it cleanly. Look out here. Wake Forest has a little bit of space. This is Faulkner. Faulkner across. Shot there is blocked down. Rebound. Another one. Save. In tight. Score! No goal. No goal. Immediately waved off for a high stick. Sam Faulkner thought he ended it. The official adamant immediately that he tapped it home with the stick above the crossbar.
And there's just chaos erupting in this stadium right now. Confusion all around. But yes, Andy, as you said, super quick, no goal call. The fans chanting a word I'm not allowed to say on the broadcast. Let's get another look.
Let's see. So this is Faulkner going into the offensive zone. He's got Dowdett with him. Dowdett on the far circle takes the shot. You get the save for the block there. The second one saved by Seifert. And that's a scramble in front, and that appears to be the correct call. That stick on that replay definitely above the crossbar when Faulkner knocks it past Seifert.
Yeah, and that was really the only way he was going to get a handle on that, batting it down.
They will review it since it would end the game. They have to be certain.
Fair enough.
But based on that first replay we saw, it seemed pretty clear that Faulkner's stick was well above the crossbar there.
Wake Forest's fans went nuts there. I am not biased, but I would be excited to see just how this stadium would erupt if the Deacons were able to pull this one off.
Yes, in arena, they can't see the replays. We don't have any Jumbotron or anything to show them a live feed, so fans just kind of have to guess based on their memory of the previous play. Let's see what the officials are seeing right now. So you have the play in front from Farland. Farland has his shot go well high. Faulkner knocking at that puck, and yeah, it's definitely too high, Bailey.
That's all you could do if you're Faulkner, but yeah, no real other way to play that puck. You're going to want to at least try it if you're in that position there.
Officials doing the right thing, being certain about the no-goal call on the ice, but based on every replay we've seen, I don't see how this gets overturned.
That was the first good chance there for Wake Forest since their own power play, really, to kick off this overtime period. We saw...
You take a look at this behind the net angle as well. Yeah, there's no way. Just had a couple of Wake Forest parents yell, "Good goal," right in front of us.
No goal.
Officials confirm the call on the ice. We up here in the broadcast booth agree. It definitely seemed like Faulkner's stick was at least a foot too high. And we play on. Penn State survives the scare.
2:29 left to go here in this overtime period. The shots creeping up, 39 for Wake Forest, 35 for Penn State. So again, an even game all the way around in this number 3, number 6 matchup.
Face off in neutral here. Kiley wins it against Dowdett. Evan Ing plays it off the boards for Whipkey. Whipkey hit hard there by, that was Landon Dowdett trying to check him off the puck, and now it's collected by Faulkner. Faulkner, who thought he ended the game moments ago, plays it up for McGregor. McGregor loses it. Kiley in alone, save, 12, rebound. They say no goal. Officials say the net came off first. Sebastian Kiley this time thought he ended it. Another close call.
I have to agree with that call there. That net did come off, in my opinion, moments before that rebound put in. The net initially came off when Kiley was crashing in on that first shot, so just by sequence of events, that does make sense to me, but we're going to see if they're going to review this one again.
We'll see if they go to the replay booth for the 4th time tonight.
We are getting our money's worth with this production crew.
We sure are. Yeah, we have 12 or 13 cameras on site for the ACC playoffs this weekend. And trust me, we've definitely used all of them so far. Including this one right in front of Bailey and I.
Selfie cam.
Selfie cam.
If you tune in earlier to this game, you'd see the faces behind the broadcast representing.
And they won't even review it. They just say no goal.
I think that's the right call as well. Yeah, as I was saying before, just how sequence of events panned out.
Now the officials talk with head coach Peter Brumberg, who is very upset, I believe probably just with the fact that they won't review it. That being said, I don't know the ACC's rules. I don't know if the net coming off is a reviewable, non-reviewable play for them. Let's see a replay here. Kiley gets stonewalled by Tolv at first. Rebound goes in. That net well off its post by that point. Tolv barreling into the net. Kiley doesn't put it in until afterwards, and it seems like that shot would have gone high if the net hadn't moved. So, right call there from the officials in my book. Both teams with a near miss in the last minute. Now down to 2 minutes in this first OT. Neisner with it for Penn State. Gets around Corwin, but Ross McKee back there for Wake Forest. McKee, long pass there, intercepted by Whipkey. Whipkey plays it into the offensive zone. Corwin there for Wake Forest. Corwin, long play. Seifarth goes out of his net to play it. Around the boards, Wake Forest trying to keep it in the offensive end. It's taken away by Marvis. Alex Marvis, skate to stick with Leland Kiley. Leland Kiley, far circle, trying to play that one in front. It's blocked down right there by Ingus. Playing it around the boards for Corwin. Long play there. Declan Maloney back there for Penn State. Maloney, stretch pass for Marvis. Marvis inside. He's got a man with Partridge. Evan Partridge cutting in front, and a blocker saved by Tolv. Evan Partridge plays it for Szymanski. Szymanski back out to the point with Maloney. Maloney, long shot goes wide. Picked up again by Ingus. He'll leave it on the boards for Corwin. Liam Corwin motoring through center. Corwin into the offensive end on the near circle. Drop pass for Mitchell. Inside, he was looking for Lucas. Back up at the point. McGregor, a shot that goes wide. Jagger Lucas with it on the far side. We were down to 30 seconds left in OT. In front, Danaher, one more, and another stop by Seifert, that time on Danny Mitchell.
Seifert blocking at least 3 shots point blank in front there. And wow, Wake Forest was coming in on all angles. Seifert able to slide post to post for those pad saves. Just 28 seconds left to go here in overtime, a 10-minute overtime as well.
Wake Forest with an offensive zone draw, 28.1 seconds left in this OT. Stadheim tried to jam it in right off the face-off. The net came off, so there's a quick whistle there, and it'll stay back in Penn State's defensive end. Jack Stadheim trying to go with the sneaky quick release with traffic in front. Seifarth had the answer. Stadheim with a face-off win. In the corner, it's McCuskey. Back in front, Stadheim a backhand. Still loose in front. Wake Forest poking at it. It's back in the corner. Across, they're trying to feed it. McCuskey fans on the shot. Stadheim still trying to pick it up. Evan Ing now slowing it down, trying to just kill out the rest of this clock for Penn State. Groton up ahead. Grasser maybe has a chance. 4-second shot. Saved by Tolv. He'll hold. 0.6 of a second remain in this first OT. They're going to have one more puck drop and then head off to the locker rooms. And they've reset it to a full second.
That'll help.
Penn State will pull Seifarth for this offensive zone draw. Get your 6th attacker on the ice. Get as many chances as possible to try and pot one past Tolv in a second. Wes Schwartzmiller and his quick hands are going to try and take this face off here. It's won by Danny Mitchell, and that concludes the first OT, still 5 apiece.
10 minutes full of scoreless hockey there, but both sides really come into play. 2 chances overturned within a minute for both of these teams. And we're going to get an ice cut here in between our next sequence of overtime. What a thriller, Andy.
What a thriller. 60 minutes wasn't enough. 70, let's try 80. 5-5 between Wake Forest and Penn State in this 6-3 game. We'll be back for the second OT here on AAU Plus and YouTube. Welcome back to the ACCHL playoffs on AAU Plus and YouTube. My name is Andy Parr, joined alongside Bailey Unchester for the start of the second overtime here in the 6-3 game between Wake Forest and Penn State, tied 5 apiece. Bailey, just an incredible game that we've seen here so far tonight.
We have had so much more hockey than anybody has ever expected to see tonight. A bit of an unconventional overtime situation. We do 10 minutes each of 5-on-5 until anybody scores. And Penn State and Wake Forest, two teams, I've said it so many times this broadcast, two teams that do not know how to lose. Both the respective champions for both divisions of the ACCHL last year. Penn State taking it all the way for the Premier Division and Wake Forest for the Elite Division. Last year, both of these teams in this same exact rink, the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds, getting a trophy to bring home, and they both want another one.
Yeah, let's take a look at that first OT. Even though there were no goals that counted, there were a lot of scoring chances, including this one right here, where we thought for a moment that Sam Faulkner ended it for Wake Forest. Replay review showing he knocked it in with a high stick. Officials immediately washed it out on the ice as well. They went to the board just to be safe. You can see it one more time here at Faulkner knocking that puck in with the high stick. And then on the other side, Sebastian Kiley thought he ended it for Penn State. Net came off first. John Tolvey was pushing off on that far post. And as you can see here, by the time Kiley shoots that puck, the net well off its post. Officials also immediately waving that one off. They didn't even review that play.
Lots on the line right now as we tick down to these final seconds of this mid-overtime break. We are now in our second overtime tonight. Still 5-on-5, as I mentioned before. Shots on goal, Wake Forest pulling away 40-36, but we are still knotted up at 5, and Wake Forest was down 2-0 earlier on in this game, and they just seem to have climbed out and really gave the reigning champs a run for their money.
Well, they were down 5-3 with about 10 minutes to play in the third period, and then Jagger Lucas put the team on his back, scoring 2 goals to force OT for Wake Forest. And as that buzzer sounds, we are ready to get started for the second overtime here in Winston-Salem tonight. 60 minutes wasn't enough for these two. 70 wasn't enough for these two. Will something between minutes 70 and 80 finally put an end to this masterclass of a game between Wake Forest and Penn State? Winner of this game moves on to face Virginia Tech in the 9 p.m. puck drop tomorrow night. Both teams getting set here. It'll be Kiley and Custable at the face-off dot for this OT. Custable wins it for Wake Forest, and we're underway for the second overtime here in Winston-Salem. Still a lot of people in attendance here supporting the hometown Wake Forest Demon Deacons.
We are officially past midnight here, Eastern Time.
It is officially Saturday morning. Long shot there, save by Seifarth. And now here comes Penn State the other way. Leland Kiley with a shot right at Tolvin. He'll hold. Both teams seem to be feeling out this OT. The first OT, they just had a bit of a 2-minute pause. They didn't cut the ice in between, and each team regrouped at their bench. This time, Bailey, they had a full intermission going to the locker room 15 minutes away from the ice.
Yeah, so we're going to see if that shifts the momentum at all. Sometimes that's not great for teams who just really like to keep getting at it. No breaks, keep the flow going.
Offensive zone draw for Penn State is won by Wes Schwartzmiller, but Jagger Lucas able to poke it into neutral. Declan Maloney sending it forward for Penn State. His pass can't connect with Carson Downs, and now here comes Wake Forest. Danny Mitchell, one-on-one against Maloney. Maloney gets there first, and he'll use the boards to play it over to Tim Shijan. Tim Shijan plays it off the wall, but this will turn into an icing on Penn State and become an offensive zone face-off for Wake Forest. 53 seconds gone in this second OT, period 5 on the scoreboard in Arena. Still just says standard OT on our scorebug here with ACCHL broadcasting on AAU Plus and YouTube. We were not prepared for a double OT game. As long as this game takes, it will forever just say single overtime. So we'll try and remind you periodically that we're in the second extra frame.
And thank you, folks, for joining us so late here again. My name's Bailey Unchester, joined with Andy Parr as my play-by-play commentator representing you from the Maryland Hockey Network on AAU+. As long as this game is going on, we will be here.
Absolutely. Face-off won by Wake Forest. McKee with a shot. That one's blocked down by Partridge into the corner. Picked up by Wake Forest again. Losing the puck there was Zach Nacy. Partridge trying to play it out of the zone. He gets it into center, but it appeared to hit the Penn State bench, and the officials blow it dead. This face-off will go back into neutral on Penn State's edge of center ice. Wake Forest sending their fourth line out. Penn State counters with their third. Face-off won by Farland. Corwin dumps it into the offensive zone for Wake Forest. First one there, Declan Maloney of the Ice Lions. Plays it around to Tim Chision. Tim Chision for Maloney. Maloney passing it up one more for Partridge. Evan Partridge trying to get a breakout going. Szymanski overshoots him, and this turns into icing as Corwin wins that foot race with Ethan Szymanski. A lot of whistles to start this fifth frame here in Winston-Salem.
Yeah, most of them going in favor of the Deacons. They really have to try and set something up here at this point if they're going to want to keep taking advantage of these errors by the Ice Lions.
Offensive zone draw for Wake Forest to be taken by Colin Rosado. Right off the face-off, and a save there for Seifarth. Quick release there, an unexpected shot, set piece off a clean win for Colin Rosado. Adam Custable went with the quick trigger, and John Seifarth had the answer with the glove. We'll reset again to Seifarth's right. Rosado can't win that one cleanly. Evan Ing has it for Penn State. Finds Leland Kiley. Kiley losing the puck there. It's held in for the moment by Rosado, and now Leland Kiley has it. Kiley picking up speed one-on-one. Shot from the near circle goes wide of Toll. Held in for the moment by Neisner. Behind the net, McGregor trying to pick it up for Wake Forest. He's got it. Up ahead finds Snow. Snow, long pass there. He's trying to hit Rosado. Rosado wins the foot race. No icing here. Rosado behind the Penn State net and now into the near corner. Sebastian Kiley out in front. Snow couldn't handle it cleanly. Trip upcoming here on Wake Forest as they touch up. They're going shorthanded here.
James McGregor there.
A game-saving trip from James McGregor. He definitely got Leland Kiley, but that feels like the smart penalty to take as number 16 in blue would have been off to the races there, Bailey.
Yeah. Wake Forest, they've been doing decently on that, their penalty kill too, so hopefully they can keep that up. Let's get another look at how this sequence unfolded.
Jesper Snow trying to play the puck up to the point. James McGregor can't handle it and realizes Leland Kiley has nobody behind him, so he trips him up. Penn State now on the power play in sudden victory overtime. Wes Schwartzmiller across. He overshoots Szymanski. Szymanski with it on the far circle. Down low to Partridge. In front, shot from Grasser is blocked down by McKee. Wake Forest trying to clear it out. They can't. Schwartzmiller still with it on the near side. Schwartzmiller up to the point with Tim Chision. Down to Szymanski on the far circle. Szymanski a shot. Deflected in front. Still loose. Schwartzmiller can't handle it as it was bouncing by his stick. Back up to the point. Tim Chision still dangerous. Tim Chision for Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller creeping in. Schwartzmiller inside. Can't get it to Partridge. Tolv kicks it into the corner. Ethan Szymanski's still there. Szymanski behind the Wake Forest net for Schwartzmiller. To the point, it's Tim Chision. Tim Chision spins and backhands to Schwartzmiller. Wes Schwartzmiller takes the shot, deflected in front. Wake Forest can't get it out again. Another keep in by Tim Chision, and one more. Tim Chision down low. Grasser can't keep it on goal in front. Grasser sends it wide. Penn State flurrying of chances on this power play. 52 seconds left. Partridge, another shot blocked there by Wake Forest. Evan Partridge on the near circle. Two more. Two in a row there for Zach Nacy. Another chance in front for Penn State by Grasser. Saved by Tolv, and Wake Forest finally clears. Wes Schwartzmiller trying to catch him in transition. Schwartzmiller feeding it in front for Szymanski. He can't handle it. Kane backhands it up to the point. Schwartzmiller keeps it in for Partridge. Partridge a shot. Glove down by Tolv. The rebound still loose at the side of the net. Penn State couldn't get another shot off. 18 seconds left on the penalty as Wake Forest clears again. Loose in front. Jagger Lucas just a step too slow. Nearly disaster there for John Seifarth, as Jagger Lucas had a step on everybody. This puck goes into the Penn State bench again, and we get a whistle just as James McGregor steps out of the box, and we're back to 5-on-5.
Wake Forest going off for a much-needed change there. That was some tough penalty killing for the past 2 minutes. All hands on deck right there for the Deacons. And again, just quarterbacked by John Tolvey, keeping Wake in this game tonight.
A flurry of chances on the man advantage for Penn State, and then Jagger Lucas nearly ends it at the other side after Seifarth misplayed the puck off the boards. But we still play on, tied at 5, waiting for a winner here in Winston-Salem. Wake Forest trying to recharge it again. Neisner with a takeaway. Neisner has some space with a shot. Saved by Tolv again, and he holds. John Tolv had nobody between him and Matthew Neisner, and Tolv had the answer.
Right into the chest there. Easy squeeze for number 31 in gold. He's been making those plays all night. Let's get another look.
Turnover there at the blue line. Neisner with the takeaway. Neisner comes into the circle, and Tolv with another stop. Both teams at 41 on the shot counter now. Kiley with a shot, saved by Tolv. He blockers that one aside into the corner. Jesper Snow trying to hit it through center. It's picked off by Neisner, deflected by Wake Forest, so no ice here. Corwin leaves for McKee. Ross McKee looking for a passing lane to get it out of his own end. He finds Custable. Custable with a shot, saved by Seifarth. And he'll hold again. Just over 5 minutes played in this second OT. Still no score between Wake Forest and Penn State in the extra sessions.
Shots still basically even, 42-41 in favor of Wake Forest. Again, this is as even of a matchup as we're going to get.
Face-off here is won by Wake Forest. Jagger Lucas with a shot, still loose in front. Danny Mitchell couldn't get to it before Seifarth. That puck was bouncing in front of John Seifarth. Danny Mitchell was trying to poke it past him. Seifarth able to scoop it with the glove. Jagger Lucas with it down low. Lucas behind the Penn State net. Goes into the corner. Back up to the point. Long range shot there coming off the stick of Ingus. Goes wide. Back at the point. This is McGregor with a shot tipped wide there by Danaher. Danaher still fighting for it on the far side. It's held in by Ingus. Ingus trying to play it down low. Look out here. Schwartzmiller has speed. Penn State with numbers. Grasser across. A great sliding play there from Kellen Danaher. Breaking up the one-time pass intended for Carson Downs. This will be icing on Wake Forest and send it back to John Tolv's end of the ice. But a great sliding defensive effort there from Kellen Danaher.
These fans are not appreciating that play enough from number 12 in gold there. Again, that was one of the stops of the night, sliding in before that puck even reached Tolvey. Wake Forest defense has been on point so far during this overtime entourage.
Yep, Wake Forest will be forced to keep their tired group of skaters out on the ice, though, after that icing. Penn State gets fresh reinforcements. Marvis with a shot. Sticked aside by Tolv. That rebound was dangerous for a second. Partridge with a shot well wide of Tolv. Jagger Lucas plays it down to Penn State's end of the ice. Wake Forest can finally change. James McGregor keeping the pressure on Whipkey. Nate Whipkey taken into the boards there by McGregor as he leaves for Marvis. Partridge plays it into center. First one there is going to be Faulkner. Faulkner dump and chase here for Wake Forest. Under 4 minutes to play here in the second OT. Partridge has that pass read by Wake Forest and Liam Corwin, and it turns into an offside as Marvis was ahead of the play there. We'll go back into neutral ice. 3:32 to play in the second OT. Shots on goal 43-42 in favor of the Demon Deacons.
This game is going to go all night at this rate.
I think I would already classify where we are as all night personally. They're going to put it exactly center ice for this face-off. Tie up. And Wake Forest takes possession. This is Corwin. Corwin leaves for McKee. Ross McKee Dumps it into the offensive zone. Chasing it is Static. Trying to pick it up in the corner there was Zach Nacy. Now this is Stadheim behind the net. It's taken away by Leland Kiley. Kiley into neutral. Kiley loses his footing. McCuskey trying to push it back into the offensive end for Wake Forest. Declan Maloney says no way. Takes a weird bounce in front of the Wake Forest cage. Leland Kiley was nearly there for Penn State. Now McCuskey. Up ahead, he's trying to feed Nacy. Couldn't connect cleanly there. Now this is Rosado. Colin Rosado spins behind the Penn State cage. Rosado on the far circle. Rosado to the near side. Shot there, saved by Seifarth. And Wes Schwartzmiller picks up the rebound coming off the stick of Walter Ingus. Look out here. Schwartzmiller rips it wide. He was looking for the hat trick to end it. A turnover right in front of Tolv, and number 17 in blue fired it wide of the cage. Just over 2 minutes remaining here in the second OT. Blake Groton picks it up in center. Groton finds Schwartzmiller. Schwartzmiller inside for Downs. Tried to drop it to Ing, couldn't connect there. Schwartzmiller has that pass read by Ingus, and Ingus pushes it to middle. This is Faulkner. Sam Faulkner getting in tight. Faulkner spins on the far side, on the near side. Faulkner around, he was looking one more to Danaher, couldn't connect there. Now this is Groton in center. Groton, one-touch move there to Whipkey. Has it taken away by McKee. Ross McKee tries to dump it in. It's stalled up by Penn State for the moment, and now McKee's got it again. Plays with Corwin. McKee and Corwin can't handle it. Now this is Partridge. Partridge, one more. Shot there, score! Alex Marvis walks it off for Penn State. The Ice Lions' quest to repeat remains alive.
Absolute mayhem right now in Winston-Salem. And what a dagger for the Ice Lions there off of that rush. I am excited to get a replay on this one because that was just a really nice passing sequence to close that one out.
Wake Forest immediately going to John Tolv to console their netminder. He played a heck of a game. Just 1:28 remaining in the second OT. But Alex Marvis, the hero for the Ice Lions as we look to get another look at this goal.
The Ice Lions able to hold off the number 6 seed Wake Forest as Penn State is one step closer to repeating. Let's get another look at this game-winning goal.
So right here, Ross McKee is playing catch with Liam Corwin. McKee has it bounce over his stick. Evan Partridge picks it up, drops there to Marvis, and Marvis with Ethan Szymanski providing the screen in front. He's able to snipe it past Tolv. Let's see the behind-the-net angle here. Watch this drop pass here.
Such a smart pass.
And Szymanski providing the screen. It looks like Szymanski may have even caught a piece of it.
Deciding to go back there to Marvis instead of your post guy who you've been usually going to all game. That was really what was able to trick Wake Forest here in this midnight hour. They were not expecting a drop pass there, and that is how Marvis was able to crash in and slot that one past. They just plainly were not expecting that positioning.
Yep, so Penn State survives and advances, and they will face Virginia Tech in the 9 p.m. puck drop game tomorrow. What a game we just witnessed here on YouTube and AAU+.
It's going to be a matchup tomorrow of last year's Premier Championship, Penn State taking on the Hokies. So we're not going to have a championship of the same caliber again, but only one of those teams can obviously move on to the big dance at the end. But then again, Wake Forest coming in out of nowhere. I can speak for pretty much everybody. Nobody expected that gusty of a showing from the Demon Deacons, but they proved a lot of people wrong there and played Penn State absolutely to the wire.
Yes, the Demon Deacons taking full advantage of their home ice here in Winston-Salem, embracing the crowd of Ruckus fans, getting everybody on their side. That late game-tying tally from Jagger Lucas had this building practically explode with 1:57 left in the third. Wake Forest thought they won it in the first OT with Sam Faulkner tapping a puck past John Seifarth. Turns out it was played with a high stick, so no goal. Sebastian Kiley then thought he won it in the first OT for Penn State. And then ultimately, it's Alex Marvis who plays hero here in Winston-Salem. What a game we witnessed tonight. We're going to take a short break before our post-game interviews here on AAU Plus and YouTube. All right, folks, we have just been informed that we will not be able to have any post-game interviews with coaches or players for this final game just because of how late it ended. But thank you so much for tuning in to this 3-6 matchup between Wake Forest and Penn State here on AAU Plus and YouTube tonight with the ACCHL playoffs. An incredible game, an incredible finish, takes us into the early hours of Saturday morning. My name is Andy Parr. I was joined alongside Bailey Unchester as color commentator. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and be sure to come back tomorrow at 6 p.m. for Maryland versus Rowan, the start of round 2.